Chapter 2908. You're right. My father's death does have something to do with the fire hall. Lame Yuan didn't answer Mo Qingyun's question directly. Her face was filled with unwillingness and anger as she said, not only that, other than the fire hall, the water hall, earth hall, wind hall, and punishment hall all participated as well. Lame Yuan's words made Mo Qingyun's heart tremble. His expression instinctively became serious. He didn't expect that 5 of the 9 halls of the true, absolute beginning demon hall had betrayed them. The situation wasn't optimistic at all. While Mo Qingyun's heart was heavy, he was also a little puzzled. He asked, even if the 5 halls came at the same time, with your cultivation, they wouldn't be able to deal with you without being detected by the experts of the Thunder Hall. If I was on guard, they wouldn't have succeeded. Lame Yuan gave a simple answer to Mo Qingyun's puzzled question. Then, she began to explain in detail. At that time, the 5 hall masters and great elders came to see me together. They said that they had found the cause of my father's death and asked me to remove my guard against them. Who would have thought that when I removed my guard against them, the water hall master and great elder actually set up an image formation to isolate me from the outside world. After that, they joined forces to attack me. Fortunately, the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit saved me. Otherwise, I might have already died. Hearing Lame Yuan's story, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but feel a lingering fear. He could imagine what the situation was like at that time. While Lame Yuan was talking, a green Ice Phoenix shadow appeared above the altar. When the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit appeared, it nodded at Mo Qingyun and said, "Young man, I can sense a familiar aura from you. This little girl has good taste. You are indeed the best choice. Thank you, Senior, for saving me. This Junior can't thank you enough." Seeing the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit appear, Mo Qingyun humbly cupped his hands in thanks. When the spirit of the Lightning Ice Phoenix appeared, Lame Yuan's beautiful face suddenly blushed, revealing a bashful expression. Then, she turned her head away, not daring to look at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't notice the change in Lame Yuan's expression. He just looked calmly at the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit. After praising Mo Qingyun, the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit nodded in satisfaction and said, "Although I've brought the little girl here, I can't cure her of the Shadow Serpent's poison. I need your help. Senior, what do you need me to do?" After Mo Qingyun, he asked with the Ice Phoenix spirit. He understood the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit. In his opinion, Lame Yuan had discovered his arrival and led him into the formation for the same reason. The method is very simple. Use your vital yang and the little girl's vital yin to cure the poison in her body. The spirit of the Lightning Ice Phoenix didn't hide anything and directly told Mo Qingyun the method to cure the poison. Mo Qingyun was dumbfounded. So the way to cure the poison was to have him sleep with Lame Yuan. This joke was a little too much. After hearing the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit's words, Lame Yuan's face was still red. If one looked closely, they would find that her gaze towards Mo Qingyun had become somewhat blurry. "Young man, her poison can no longer be suppressed. You must make a decision quickly." Seeing Lame Yuan's strange behavior, the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit urged Mo Qingyun anxiously. "Originally, I could have grabbed any male disciple from the true demon hall to cure this little girl, but she chose you in the end. Don't let her down. If you're not unwilling, please tell me immediately. I'll find someone else, so as not to delay her detoxification." Mo Qingyun felt an indescribable pain in his heart when he heard the Thunder Ice Phoenix spirit's words. He couldn't accept anyone else curing Lame Yuan of the poison. Mo Qingyun immediately made the decision to cure Lame Yuan of the poison himself. "Looks like my entanglement with her will become more and more complicated." After deciding to cure Lame Yuan of the poison, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Clang! The heaven-sealing purple lightning bell landed on the ground and let out a deafening sound, enveloping Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan. After isolating himself from the outside world, Mo Qingyun walked towards Lame Yuan and gently undid her clothes. What Mo Qingyun didn't expect was that Lame Yuan would directly tear his clothes apart when he undid Lame Yuan's clothes. Then, Lame Yuan pushed him to the ground and forced herself on him. Mo Qingyun immediately smiled bitterly when faced with this situation. Lame Yuan was indeed domineering. Just as Mo Qingyun sighed in his heart, he wasn't willing to be passive and slowly regained the initiative. There was a soft moan. Lame Yuan blushed, and her gaze became blurred. She seemed to be in pain, shy and intoxicated. After intercourse with Lame Yuan's body, Mo Qingyun's instinctive desire was completely aroused. Then, the two of them began to make love and harmonize yin and yang. As Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan's yin and yang intercourse, a pure ice phoenix origin energy entered Mo Qingyun's body. When this ice phoenix origin energy entered his body, it nourished Mo Qingyun's physique and perfected his Thunder Fire Dragon Saint physique. As Mo Qingyun's sacred body was stimulated, a pure fire dragon energy was also transferred into Lame Yuan's body. The fire dragon energy entered Lame Yuan's body and merged with her ice phoenix energy, changing her bloodline and body. As Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan's bloodline and body continued to be perfected and transformed, an ice phoenix and a fire dragon shadow formed above the two of them. Then, a surge of thunder energy exploded from Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan's bodies. When these two surges of thunder energy appeared, they shrouded the fire dragon and ice phoenix, forming a mysterious thunder boundary. When the thunder boundary was formed, waves of pure thunder energy entered Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan's bodies. Soon after, the auras emitted by the two of them began to rapidly increase. The following time passed like this. Several hours later, the thunder boundary slowly retreated, and the fire dragon and ice phoenix shadow also disappeared. Everything gradually returned to normal. Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan slowly withdrew from the pleasure of intercourse. Looking at the beautiful woman in his arms, Mo Qingyun felt that everything just now was like a dream. He had never thought that the first woman in his life would be facilitated by such a situation. While Mo Qingyun was lost in his thoughts, the woman in his arms let out a soft moan. Hearing the woman's moan, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly and asked in confusion, "Is the poison not completely gone?" Chapter 2909. Are you feeling better? After another round of lovemaking, Mo Qingyun asked about Lame Yuan's condition with a concerned look on his face. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lame Yuan blushed slightly and said softly, "It hurts a little. Where does it still hurt? Is the poison not completely cured?" Because Mo Qingyun was too concerned, he didn't immediately understand the meaning behind Lame Yuan's words. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lame Yuan's face instantly turned red. She rolled her eyes at him and said, "Stupid man, you only know how to take advantage of others." Upon seeing Lame Yuan's glare, Mo Qingyun immediately understood what she meant by pain. Upon seeing that Mo Qingyun understood what she meant, Lame Yuan blushed slightly and said softly to him, "I'm going to put on my clothes. Turn your head around and don't peek." "Okay, I promise I won't peek." Mo Qingyun nodded and turned around. However, when he turned around, he realized that he was also naked and instinctively looked around for his clothes. As Mo Qingyun was looking for his clothes, he saw Lame Yuan's near-perfect figure from the corner of his eye. If you keep looking, I'll get angry." Sensing Mo Qingyun's gaze, Lame Yuan pouted and pretended to glare at Mo Qingyun unhappily. Upon hearing Lame Yuan's words, Mo Qingyun immediately laughed awkwardly and said, "I didn't do it on purpose. I was looking for my clothes. Looking for my clothes." When he answered Lame Yuan, Mo Qingyun realized that his clothes had been torn to shreds. Seeing Mo Qingyun's clothes being torn, Lame Yuan suddenly felt guilty. She playfully stuck out her tongue and said, "You're naughty. This is your punishment." Mo Qingyun shook his head with a bitter smile and took out a new set of clothes to change into. Not long after, the two changed their clothes and came out of the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. From the looks of it, the poison should be completely cured. Seeing that Mo Qingyun and Luo Feng had come out, the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix released its spiritual will to check on Lame Yuan's situation. When it sensed Lame Yuan's cultivation, it immediately exclaimed in shock, "Your cultivation has broken through to the half-step Great Emperor realm. How is this possible? Even if this brat still has his primordial yang, it would still be impossible for him to help you improve so much. Senior, is there anything wrong with that? Didn't he also advance to the quasi-sector Lord realm?" Hearing the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix, Lame Yuan was confused. She didn't feel that there was anything wrong. Lame Yuan's confusion made the Thunder Ice Phoenix's spirit feel helpless. It said, "Your cultivation is much higher than his. After he obtained your primordial yin, his cultivation has improved greatly. This is natural. But you obtained his primordial yang, and your cultivation improved even more than his. This is a little unusual. If I'm not wrong, his bloodline and physique should be much higher than yours." After the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix's analysis, Lame Yuan suddenly realized that the situation seemed to be true. In other words, her gains from this dual cultivation were even greater than Mo Qingyun's. Immediately, Lame Yuan turned to Mo Qingyun, hoping that Mo Qingyun could clear her doubts. "My bloodline is a little special. I'm not too sure myself, but my physique is the Thunder Fire Dragon Saint physique." Seeing the two looking at him curiously, Mo Qingyun didn't hide it and told them the truth. With his relationship with Lame Yuan, there was no need to hide it. Since it's the Thunder Fire Dragon Saint physique, then there's nothing strange about it. After learning about Mo Qingyun's physique, the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix nodded in realization. The doubts in its heart seemed to have been cleared. Seeing the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix's reaction, Lame Yuan was even more curious and quickly asked, "Senior, what does my increase in cultivation have to do with his physique?" "This has a lot to do with it." The spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix's tone was serious and gave Lame Yuan an affirmative answer. "The fire energy in his body and the ice energy in your body coincide with the Tao of yin and yang, allowing the two of you to perfectly dual cultivate. Furthermore, his dragon physique and your phoenix physique are of the same level, allowing the two of you to perfectly dual cultivate. Most importantly, both of you have the pure Thunder Ice energy in your bodies, allowing the two of you to dual cultivate without any resistance." When the two of you were dual cultivating, did the Dragon Shadow and the Thunder Ice boundary appear? After hearing the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix's words, Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan's eyes widened in disbelief. They didn't think that the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix would know the situation of their dual cultivation like the back of its hand. If it wasn't for the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, the two of them would have thought that the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix was watching them from the side. Don't be surprised, it's not hard to deduce. Seeing the surprised expressions of Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan, the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix explained indifferently, "All right, since the poison in your body has been removed and your cultivation has improved, you can leave now." "Yes." Seeing that the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix was chasing them away, Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan didn't force them to stay and immediately prepared to leave. Just as Mo Qingyun was about to leave, his footsteps paused as he suddenly had a plan. He said, "Yuan, I feel that it's not good for you to show yourself right now. You can hide for now and use this time to see their true faces. When their foxtails are completely exposed, you can show yourself then. It won't be too late to take care of them." Lame Yuan immediately agreed with Mo Qingyun's suggestion, but also put her in a difficult position. She said, "Although this is a good idea, unless I leave the True Demon Hall, I will definitely be discovered by them. But if I leave the True Demon Hall, I won't be able to see their every move with my own eyes." Mo Qingyun had already expected Lame Yuan's worries and concerns. He said to her with a faint smile, "You don't have to worry about that. Give up resisting now, and I'll send you to a place. When the time comes, I will show you everything in the True Demon Hall through mental images." "All right." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lame Yuan agreed without hesitation. Then, with a thought, Mo Qingyun sent Lame Yuan to the Fortune mainland. Lame Yuan's sudden disappearance shocked the lightning ice phoenix's spirit. It sized up Mo Qingyun curiously, saying, I really didn't expect that your body is connected to the great beginning mainland. Little girl's eyesight is really good. Since the matter is settled, I asked Senior to send me out. Mo Qingyun didn't mind the lightning ice phoenix's spirit surprise, cupping his fists calmly. Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, the lightning ice phoenix's spirit controlled the formation and sent Mo Qingyun out. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that when he left the formation, he didn't return to the Frost Jade Pool, but to the Ice Palace. The lightning ice phoenix's spirit actually has this kind of ability. What is its relationship with the true Demon Hall? After witnessing the lightning ice phoenix's spirit's ability, Mo Qingyun was extremely curious about its origin. Chapter 29:10. I'll go help Enchun first. I'll wait and see what happens next. Thinking that Enchun had escaped from the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall in order to cover for him, Mo Qingyun went to the outside of the sect to provide support. If he did not receive Enchun, he would definitely be discovered if he returned to the sect. Although it wouldn't be difficult for Enchun to protect himself with his strength, he would have one less powerful helper. After communicating with Enchun's soul, Mo Qingyun found where he was and put him into the Soul Palace. After Enchun entered the Soul Palace, he reported what he had discovered while escaping to Mo Qingyun. Master, when I was hiding from those people, my divine consciousness sensed that there were 7 top super experts hiding in the true Devil Hall. Hearing Enchun's words, Mo Qingyun's footsteps paused. Surprise appeared on his face. He asked, what level of strength are these 7 people at? 6 of them are half-step great emperors. The last one is a quasi-emperor. Enchun's tone became heavier when he spoke of the 6 people's strength. He showed his fear of the 7 people. Hearing Enchun's report, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He sighed inwardly that he had been a little careless. There were 7 experts at this level in the true Devil Hall, but he hadn't sensed them at all. He had always thought that Polar Snow's strength should be one of the top existences in the true Devil Hall. He didn't expect there to be 7 people above Polar Snow's strength. I have to immediately ask Grandmaster about the true Devil Hall situation. After learning of the existence of the 7 people, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately headed to Polar Snow's residence. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at Polar Snow's residence and saw that he was arranging the wedding banquet. Seeing Mo Qingyun walk toward him, Polar Snow's expression was solemn. He immediately went forward and said, Qingyun, someone in the sect said that a half-step great emperor appeared in the blue sky cold spring. The young hall master's disappearance might be related to him. Mo Qingyun wasn't surprised by Polar Snow's words. He knew very well that the half-step great emperor that Polar Snow was talking about was Enchun. Without answering Polar Snow, Mo Qingyun asked him directly, Grandmaster, can you tell me more about the situation in the true Grand Primordium Demon Hall? If you have any questions, just ask me directly. Looking at Mo Qingyun's serious expression, Polar Snow didn't ask any more questions and immediately agreed to his request. Seeing that Polar Snow had agreed to his request, Mo Qingyun did not beat around the bush and asked directly, Ancestor, I would like to know how many half-step emperors there are in the true absolute beginning Devil Hall right now. Are there any emperors? Who are they? The moment Mo Qingyun's question left his mouth, Polar Snow froze on the spot. A hint of shock flashed through his eyes. He didn't expect Mo Qingyun to ask such a question, and he couldn't help but look troubled. These people were the foundation of the existence of the true, absolute, beginning Devil Hall. Under normal circumstances, they would keep it a secret. Only when the sect was in a life-and-death situation would they appear to resolve the sect's crisis. Polar Snow had a conflicted expression on his face as he walked to a chair in the inner hall and sat down. After pondering for a while, he said, Originally, in the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall, apart from the hall masters and elders of the various halls, there were also 9 top powerhouses. They were called the 9 ancestors of the absolute beginning, and all of them were half-step great emperors. The 9 ancestors of the absolute beginning, 9 half-step great emperors? Mo Qingyun's doubts were immediately resolved when he heard Polar Snow's answer. However, there are still some discrepancies between this and what Enchun had reported. Among the 7 people that Enchun had sensed, there was a quasi-great emperor powerhouse. Could one of them have broken through to the quasi-great emperor level? Mo Qingyun guessed. Before Mo Qingyun could resolve his doubts and continue questioning Polar Snow's expression dimmed. When the old hall master went missing, the ancestors of the earth, ice, fire, and gold halls disappeared with him. Therefore, there are only 5 ancestors left in the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall. The ancestor of the Wood Hall, whom you saw earlier, was one of the 9 ancestors of the absolute beginning. Only 5 ancestors left? Polar Snow's words surprised Mo Qingyun once again. If that was the case, then it was a little strange that Enchun had sensed 7 of them. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he immediately asked Polar Snow, in the true absolute beginning Devil Hall, apart from these 5 ancestors, there are others who have broken through to the quasi-great emperor level. Among the 5 ancestors, have any of them broken through to the quasi-great emperor level? No. If there were, I would definitely have heard the news. Polar Frost shook his head confidently. He raised his head proudly and said, I can't confirm the situation of the ancestors, but if there's anyone in the true, absolute beginning Demon Hall who has the highest chance of breaking through to the half-step Great Emperor realm, it's definitely the young Hall Master. Looks like the situation is very clear. Those 2 aren't from the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall. After hearing Polar Snow's reply, Mo Qingyun had a definite answer to his doubts. At the same time, Mo Qingyun was also speculating and coming to a conclusion about the 2's identities. If I'm not wrong, those 2 should be experts from the Dark Demon race. Who would have thought that the Dark Demon race's hand would reach into the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall? No wonder they were once a force that brought disaster to thousands of worlds. After coming to a conclusion about the 2's identities, his expression turned grave and he felt a great pressure. He was worried that the Dark Demon race had buried far more experts in the true absolute beginning Devil Hall than these 2. If there were great Emperor-level experts, he probably wouldn't be able to change the outcome even if he used all his strength. Let's not think about it anymore. We'll just deal with whatever comes our way. After thinking hard for a while, Mo Qingyun still couldn't come up with a solution. He took a deep breath and said, the ancestors of the Earth Hall, Ice Hall, Wind Hall, and Gold Hall have all gone missing. Of the remaining 5 ancestors, the ancestors of the Water Hall, Wind Hall, and Punishment Hall might have already betrayed the Dark Demon race. Otherwise, the 3 ancestors would have stopped what the 3 halls were doing. If that's the case, 5 out of the 7 half-step Great Emperors are from the enemy camp. The situation is very bad. After analyzing the situation thoroughly, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but feel a lingering fear. He was secretly shocked by the strength of the Dark Demon race. Unknowingly, most of the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall's forces had already fallen into the Dark Demon race's control. Given the current situation, if the Dark Demon race tried to seize power, the people of the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall wouldn't be able to stop them at all. Fortunately, Enchun and Lei Muin's cultivations had both broken through to half-step Great Emperor. At that time, with Mo Qingyun's help, they might be able to deal with the Dark Demon race. Qingyun, what's wrong? Why do you look so pale? Seeing Mo Qingyun's dark and serious expression, Polar Ice asked with concern. Hearing Polar Ice's concern, Mo Qingyun collected his thoughts and shook his head with a faint smile. I'm fine. Perhaps it's because I've been on the move recently and feel a little tired. I'll go back and rest first. Polar Ice didn't doubt Mo Qingyun's reason at all. He nodded with concern and said, Go back and rest. Don't worry about anything else. Let us handle it ourselves. Polar Ice believed that Mo Qingyun had indeed been exhausted when he had gone to the Sea of Ice to rescue them. Although Mo Qingyun's battle prowess was unparalleled, his cultivation was limited after all. It was normal for him to be exhausted. All right, Mo Qingyun nodded and turned to leave. Chapter 2911. How's the situation outside? Are there any unusual movements from the halls? Seeing Mo Qingyun appear beside her, Lame Yuan asked about the situation of the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall with a nervous expression. When he heard Lame Yuan's question, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "There hasn't been any unusual movements at the moment. If I'm not wrong, they'll probably make a big move during Grandmaster's wedding." Lame Yuan fell silent after hearing Mo Qingyun's words. She knew very well what Mo Qingyun was referring to by the big move. If nothing went wrong, the moment Polar Eyes held the wedding banquet would be the time for them to seize power. A moment later, Mo Qingyun explained the situation of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall to Lame Yuan. He smiled faintly and said, "The most important thing for us now is to raise our cultivation and strength as fast as possible so that we can deal with the situation when the time comes." Raise our cultivation? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lame Yuan's thoughts immediately went astray. Her face flushed red as she said softly, "I'm not used to it during the day. Can we wait until it's dark?" Lame Yuan felt that when Mo Qingyun said that he wanted to raise his cultivation with her, it was very likely that he wanted to dual cultivate with her. Lame Yuan's reply made Mo Qingyun dumbfounded. He knew that Lame Yuan had misunderstood. Although he knew that Lame Yuan had misunderstood, Mo Qingyun did not explain. If he explained this kind of thing, it would only cause an even greater misunderstanding. When the time came, it would only be harder to clean up. More importantly, Lame Yuan said that they could do it at night. How could he reject that? It was very difficult for a man and a woman to resist such a thing once they had tasted it. After understanding what Lame Yuan meant, Mo Qingyun changed his approach and said, "Yuan, we naturally can't neglect our cultivation at night, but we can't relax during the day either. We need to familiarize ourselves with the combat power brought about by the increase in our cultivation as soon as possible." Mo Qingyun's words were just a normal suggestion, but in Lame Yuan's ears, it immediately had a different meaning. She thought that Mo Qingyun was still unwilling to give up on coming during the day. Then Lame Yuan looked at Mo Qingyun pitifully and said, "I know what you mean, but I'm really not used to daytime. Can you give me some time to get used to it?" Seeing Lame Yuan's reaction, Mo Qingyun was even more dumbfounded. This seemed to be inexplicable. Seeing that he couldn't explain it clearly, Mo Qingyun didn't bother explaining. He nodded at Lame Yuan and said, "All right, I'll listen to you. Let's go cultivate." "You." Lame Yuan blushed and looked bashful. She glared at Mo Qingyun angrily and said, "Perverted thief, I hate you." Lame Yuan yelled angrily. She then ran away shyly. Seeing Lame Yuan's reaction, Mo Qingyun smiled bitterly and didn't know how to express his feelings. Now, in Lame Yuan's eyes, cultivation seemed to have become a taboo word. Anything that had to do with cultivation, she would associate it with dual cultivation. Seeing Lame Yuan run to the side, Mo Qingyun didn't chase after her to avoid causing more misunderstandings. "There are only 2 days left until Grandmaster's wedding. I hope that my strength can improve further." With a thought, Mo Qingyun took out Gu Fan's body and began to refine his spirit. When Gu Fan's body was taken out, it attracted Lame Yuan's attention, and she couldn't help but turn to look. The body of a quasi-emperor. Sensing the aura of Gu Fan's body, Lame Yuan's beautiful eyes filled with shock. She looked at Mo Qingyun in confusion and said, "Where did he get this body? And, judging from his actions now, does he want to refine this body to improve his cultivation?" When this thought appeared in her mind, Lame Yuan suddenly understood what Mo Qingyun meant by cultivation. Realizing that she had misinterpreted Mo Qingyun's words, Lame Yuan's face turned even redder. She was both embarrassed and annoyed and said, "That guy must be laughing at me," in his heart. Thinking about her behavior just now, Lame Yuan felt indignant and her face turned even redder. Although that guy is a little annoying, he's right. The most important thing now is to improve my strength. After calming her anger, Lame Yuan didn't waste any time and also immersed herself in cultivation. Unlike Mo Qingyun, She didn't continue to improve her cultivation. Instead, she focused on familiarizing herself with her strength. After all, her cultivation had just improved greatly. She needed to familiarize herself with the increase in strength as soon as possible so that she could unleash her full strength. Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan immersed themselves in cultivation. Everything returned to normal as they each went about their own business. 2 days passed by in a flash. I've refined 80%. Exiting from cultivation, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile. He was very satisfied with his progress. What made Mo Qingyun happy was that even though he had only refined 80% of Gu Fan's soul, he could control his body to fight. In other words, he had another powerful helper in his hands. A quasi-emperor helper would have a huge impact on the entire situation. Muan should be more or less familiar with her own strength now. Looking at Lame Yuan's situation, Mo Qingyun nodded his head in satisfaction. He was very happy to see this situation. Seeing that Lame Yuan was fully immersed in her cultivation, Mo Qingyun didn't disturb her and directly left the Fortune mainland. After returning to his residence, Mo Qingyun walked out of his room to meet up with Bing Pingyu and the others. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the Ice Palace's reception hall and saw the guests who had come to congratulate him. Among these guests, there were people from the true, absolute beginning Devil Hall, as well as people from other sections. Senior brother Mo, you're here. Boss, come sit over here. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had arrived, Bing Baijun and the others excitedly called out to Mo Qingyun. Under their greetings, Mo Qingyun sat down beside them. His gaze swept over the guests in the hall. Mo Qingyun sized up the guests and discovered that they were clearly divided into 2 factions. As expected, the 5 palaces have betrayed me. Seeing that the Water Palace, Fire Palace, Punishment Palace, Wind Palace, and Earth Palace's people were all sitting on the right side of the hall, Mo Qingyun understood. If one looked carefully, they would notice that these 5 palaces' people were wearing complacent sneers on their faces. Compared to these 5 palaces' people, the Lightning Palace, Gold Palace, Wood Palace, and Polarized Palace's people were wearing worried expressions. Because until now, they still hadn't found Lame Yuan. They couldn't help feeling worried for Lame Yuan. The time has come. Invite the newlyweds to enter the hall. Mu Xiaohe looked at the time and finally made a decision to not wait for Lame Yuan's arrival. Hearing Mu Xiaohe's words, an old man sitting on the opposite side of the hall stood up with a gloomy expression. He snapped, "Wait a minute, the young hall master hasn't arrived yet. Isn't it a little inappropriate to start the wedding banquet? Could it be that in your hearts, you don't take the young hall master seriously anymore?" Hearing this old man's words, Mu Xiaohe and the others' faces turned extremely ugly. Chapter 29:12. Shui Hanqing, don't accuse him. The young hall master is only here because he was delayed by something. Hearing Shui Hanqing's question, Mu Xiaohe was displeased and rebuked him angrily. Shui Hanqing didn't care about Mu Xiaohe's rebuke at all. He curled his lips and said, "I think the truth isn't like what you're saying." "What do you mean?" Mu Xia immediately questioned Shui Hanqing. She could sense something strange in Shui Hanqing's words. Shui Hanqing ignored Mu Xiaohe's question. He looked around and said, "Mo Qingyun of the Ice Hall, step forward. I have something to ask you." Hearing Shui Hanqing's words, the people of the Thunder, Wood, Ice, and Gold Halls all turned to look at Mo Qingyun. They all looked at each other in confusion. They didn't understand why someone of Shui Hanqing's status would ask for Mo Qingyun. Logically speaking, the 2 of them were from 2 different worlds. They shouldn't have crossed paths. Under everyone's gazes, Mo Qingyun stood up indifferently and walked to the center of the hall. He said, "If you have something to say, then say it. Don't delay my grandmaster's wedding." The other party came to find trouble with him. With Mo Qingyun's personality, he naturally would not submit to humiliation. He knew very well that if he swallowed his anger, it would only make Shui Hanqing want a yard after taking an inch. Rather than that, he might as well be a little more forceful and take the initiative. When Mo Qingyun stepped forward, He also used his mental projection to tell Lei Yun the situation. Mo Qingyun's words immediately stunned everyone in the hall. They thought they had heard wrong. This brat is so arrogant. How dare he speak to ancestor Shui Hanxing like that? It's just like the rumors. This brat is audacious and arrogant. Although he doesn't respect his elders, as a disciple of Polar Ice, it's not bad that he dares to stand up for Polar Ice. I don't think so. His actions are extremely stupid. He's clearly causing trouble for Polar Ice. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, everyone's attitude was mixed. Compared to the others, Invincible Under Heaven looked excited. He said, "Boss Missouri is so mighty. You even dare to go against the great ancestor. We really can't learn senior brother Mo's domineering aura." Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Bing Baijun was even more impressed. Bing Pingyu and the others at the side frowned and felt a little uneasy. From his point of view, Mo Qingyun was so rude to Shui Hanxing that even Polar Frost couldn't protect him. This little guy's character is very strong. He's a good seedling. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Mu Xiaohe and an old man from the Thunder Hall nodded their heads in praise. The old man from the Thunder Hall said, with his character, it would be best to nurture him properly. In the future, sending him to the Punishment Hall would be the best choice. In recent years, the actions of the people from the Punishment Hall are truly disappointing. They have already forgotten their duties. Mu Xiaohe sighed in disappointment. Over at the water hall, hearing Mo Qingyun's rude words, an old woman from the water hall immediately flew into a rage. She said, "Arrogant brat, is this the attitude you should have when talking to the great ancestor?" Mo Qingyun curled his lips disapprovingly at the old woman's reprimand. He glanced at her and said, "Who are you? Since when is it your turn to interrupt my conversation with the great ancestor?" "You." Mo Qingyun's disdain and contempt immediately angered the old woman. She raised her head and said proudly, "I'm Shui Shirlei, the great elder of the water hall. Do I have the right to interrupt your conversation? As the great elder of the water hall, how dare you interrupt the conversation of the great ancestor of the water hall? Looks like you don't know your place." After knowing the old woman's identity, Mo Qingyun was even more disdainful of her. He said sarcastically, "Also, I don't care how much water you have, whether it's wet underwear or wet pants, you'd better shut your mouth when I'm talking." "You." Seeing Mo Qingyun's domineering attitude, Shui Shirlei immediately flew into a rage. She was so angry that her body trembled. She said, "Good, very good. I've heard that there's a reckless disciple of the Ice Hall who doesn't put the great elders in his eyes. Looks like it's you. This old one wants to see what sort of ability you have to dare to consider everyone else beneath you." After Shui Shirlei finished speaking, she turned her palm and slapped towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing Shui Shirlei's action, Shui Hanxing's lips curved into a faint smile. Presumably, from his point of view, Mo Qingyun should be taught a lesson by Sailor Tears. After suffering a bit, he would become obedient. The people of the Earth Hall, Fire Hall, Wind Hall, and Punishment Hall looked like they were watching a good show. Not good. If Qingyun dares to fight back, he will fall into their trap. We must stop Qingyun. Seeing Shui Shirlei's action, Bing Pingyu was worried. He thought that this was a trap. Seeing Bing Pingyu's action, Mu Xia stopped him and shook his head. "Don't be rash. If we make a move, those old fellows will definitely find an excuse to attack. This kid doesn't seem like a reckless person. Since he dares to talk back to Shui Hanxing, he must have something to rely on." Hearing Mu Xiaohe's advice, Bing Pingyu suppressed the worry in his heart and didn't go up to stop Mo Qingyun. Under everyone's gaze, Shui Shirlei's palm shadow landed on Mo Qingyun's head. Break. Facing Shui Shirlei's palm shadow, Mo Qingyun didn't retreat at all. Instead, he pointed his finger at it. Mo Qingyun's finger was like a sword. He waved it towards the sky and slashed out a sword light. Bang! The sword light flashed and landed on the palm shadow, blocking its attack. Then, everyone saw the palm shadow dissipate bit by bit under the constant consumption of the sword light. On the other hand, Mo Qingyun's sword light didn't weaken at all. It was as if it would never change. Not long after, Shui Shirley's palm shadow that was aimed at Mo Qingyun was easily neutralized by Mo Qingyun. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. The way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed greatly. What terrifying strength! Elder Shui Shirley's full power palm was easily neutralized by him. No wonder he dares to ignore the elders. His strength is comparable to the hall masters of the various halls. To have such strength at such a young age, he has the right to be arrogant. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the people from the thunder, ice, metal, and wood halls were all shocked. As for the people from the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment halls, when they saw this scene, they all frowned. The strength that Mo Qingyun displayed greatly exceeded their expectations. It made their plan a little troublesome. Under the shocked gazes of everyone, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold, and he shouted, "Today is the martial ancestor's wedding. I originally respected you as a guest and wanted to treat you with respect, but you actually dared to cause trouble. So, don't blame me for being merciless." Chapter 29:13. As soon as Mo Qingyun said that, he took out the nine-bull divine sword and slashed at Sailor Lei. The nine-bull divine sword flashed and slashed out a sword ray that reached Shui Shirley in an instant. "Kid, you're courting death." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Shui Shirley was enraged and gritted her teeth. She couldn't accept being looked down upon by a disciple of the Ice Palace despite her status as the Grand Elder of the Water Palace. While Shui Shirley shouted, she didn't let her guard down and immediately blocked the sword ray that slashed towards her. In the previous exchange, she had a clear understanding of Mo Qingyun's strength. If she dared to let her guard down, she definitely wouldn't be able to block Mo Qingyun's sword. Water illusion, sky shadow shield. Shui Shirley's hands moved quickly and formed a strange hand seal that turned into a blue water shield. The water shield formed and blocked Shui Shirley behind it, blocking the sword ray's attack. Chi! The sword ray pierced through the water shield and hit Shui Shirley's body. Following which, Shui Shirley was sent flying and spat out fresh blood. Seeing such a scene, everyone was stunned and stood rooted to the ground with their eyes wide open. Someone as strong as Shui Shirley couldn't even block Mo Qingyun's sword. It was too frightening. Is this real? With Shui Shirley's strength, she couldn't block his sword? Could it be that his true battle strength is comparable to a half-step Great Emperor? He's only a half-step Sector Lord, but his battle strength is so strong. This kid is too strange. We've all underestimated him. This kid isn't simple. Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, those from the water, earth, wind, fire, and punishment palaces stopped looking down on him. The difference between Mo Qingyun's performance and what they had imagined was simply too great. Although the people from the wood, lightning, and metal palaces were also extremely shocked, they were mostly overjoyed. From their point of view, Mo Qingyun had taught those from the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment palaces a lesson. Boss Missouri is too invincible. No one can stop him. Boss Missouri, go for it. I want to see you torture the old ancestor. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, number 1 under heaven and unparalleled under heaven cheered loudly from the back. The moment number 1 under heaven and number 1 under heaven spoke, they attracted the gazes of everyone around them, scaring them into immediately shutting their mouths. They weren't Mo Qingyun. Although they weren't afraid of the younger generation, they had to be honest with their seniors. No wonder he's not afraid. He has such strength. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Mu Xia understood in his heart what Mo Qingyun relied on to be arrogant. Hearing Mu Xia's words, the old man from the Thunder Hall beside him revealed a brilliant smile and said, "Shui Hanqing decided to make an example out of this brat. This can be considered as smashing his own foot with a rock. I wonder how he will deal with this later." The Thunder Hall's elder's words also made Mu Xia smile faintly. "Brat, how dare you injure someone? Are you trying to start an internal conflict between the two palaces?" Shui Hanqing's face was as black as ink when she saw Shui lose the ability to fight under Mo Qingyun's sword. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Shui Hanqing's anger at all. With a disgusted expression, he said, "Compared to you, I'm far inferior. Aren't you trying to start a conflict between the two palaces by causing trouble at my grandmaster's wedding?" Mo Qingyun's words left Shui Hanqing speechless. She didn't know how to refute. Mo Qingyun was right. His current actions did have a hint of provocation. An old man from the punishment hall couldn't sit still any longer when he saw that Shui Hanqing was at a loss for words. He said, "Little fellow, while your words are reasonable, Ancestor Shui Hanqing isn't wrong either. It's indeed slightly inappropriate for Palace Master Icepole to not invite the young hall master to his wedding." After knowing Mo Qingyun's strength, the elder's tone was clearly much better than Shui Hanqing and Muxia. He probably also understood that Mo Qingyun wasn't an ordinary disciple. It was impossible for him to suppress him with his strength. "Who are you? Since when did you have the right to interrupt?" Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold when he heard the words of the elder from the punishment hall. His tone was filled with displeasure. Everyone from the punishment hall was furious when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. They all wanted to tear Mo Qingyun into pieces. The elder who spoke was the punishment hall's ancestor, Yun Xiangqiao. It was one thing for Mo Qingyun to berate Shui Lei and say that he didn't have the right to interrupt, but now he said that the punishment hall's ancestor didn't have the right to interrupt. This was a little too arrogant. This brat's temper is really bad. Yun Xiangqiao probably never thought that he would be berated by a disciple one day. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Muxia and he didn't stop him. They just watched the show with faint smiles on their faces. They really wanted to know what Mo Qingyun's goal was. They didn't think that Mo Qingyun didn't have the slightest intention of angering everyone like this. "All of you step back. Don't be rude." Seeing the actions of the punishment hall's people, Yun Xiangqiao waved his hand to stop them. He then said, "This old man is the Thunder Hall's ancestor, Yun Xiangqiao. Do I have a right to ask you a few questions?" "Go ahead." Seeing Yun Xiangqiao's restraint, Mo Qingyun couldn't be rude anymore. He nodded and agreed to his request. Seeing Mo Qingyun agree to his request, Yun Xiangqiao and the others revealed complacent cold smiles. Since it was their turn to ask questions, the initiative was in their hands. Mo Qingyun couldn't jump around anymore. "This old man wants to ask you, did you go to the Frost Jade Lake some time ago?" Seeing Mo Qingyun accept the question, Yun Xiangqiao didn't beat around the bush. He directly asked Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't find Yun Xiangqiao's question strange. Muxia and he had asked the same question before. Soon after, Mo Qingyun calmly answered Yun Xiangqiao's question. "Some time ago, I did go to the Frost Jade Lake in order to kill the Frost Jade Dragon Spur fish. Is there anything wrong with that?" "As far as we know, the young hall master went missing not long after you left the Frost Jade Lake." Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, Yun Xiangqiao revealed a complacent cold smile. He immediately put a hat on Mo Qingyun's head and said, "Therefore, we suspect that the disappearance of the young hall master has a lot to do with you. With the strength you just displayed and the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell in your hand, it's very likely that you kidnapped the young hall master without anyone noticing. What else do you have to say about this? Old man, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want." Seeing Yun Xiangqiao put a hat on him, Mo Qingyun immediately sneered and said, "As far as I know, not long after I left the Frost Jade Lake, the hall masters and elders of your 5 palaces went to see Muwan together. After that, Muwan went missing. I hope they can give me an explanation." Mo Qingyun's question caused panic to appear on the faces of the hall masters and elders of the 5 halls. Chapter 29:14. Seeing the reaction of the 5 hall masters and elders, the people of the Thunder, Metal, Ice, and Wood halls all sensed that something was wrong. If they were not mistaken, the sudden disappearance of the young hall master must have something to do with them. Because Mo Qingyun's words had caught the 5 halls' weakness, the Thunder Hall elder beside Mu Ziahe snorted with a displeased expression. "Humph! You 5 hall masters and elders had better give this old man a perfect explanation. Otherwise, don't blame this old man for being impolite. The anger of this Thunderhall elder was much more intimidating than Mo Qingyun's, because he was the Thunderhall's old ancestor, Lei Gi, the strongest of the Tai Chu 9 ancestors. Old ancestor Lei Gi, please calm down. This matter doesn't exist at all. It's all that brat's nonsense. Hearing Lei Gi's question, the Earth Hall master, Tu Wenlong, looked nervous and hurriedly explained. The corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled into a faint smile when he saw the flustered Tu Wenlong. Palace Master, your explanation is very far-fetched. Didn't you look for Muwan? Mo Qingyun's teasing immediately made Tu Wenlong panic and his face twitch. As long as one wasn't an idiot, they could tell that his explanation wasn't very convincing. Without waiting for Tu Wenlong to explain again, Mo Qingyun looked in the direction of the Waterhall and said, I heard that the Waterhall has a kind of formation that can project to anywhere at will and create a mirror formation that can display 70% of its power. Is this true? It is true. As soon as Mo Qingyun asked the question, Lei Gi nodded in affirmation. After Mo Qingyun's reminder, Lei Gi suddenly realized that there were remnants of formation energy fluctuations in Lei Muan's residence. Immediately, Lei Gi was shocked and looked at Mo Qingyun with excitement. You mean to say that someone set up a formation in Mu Wan's residence and isolated it from the outside world, then secretly killed Mu Wan? That's right, that's exactly the case. In response to Lei Gi's question, Mo Qingyun nodded affirmatively. He said, after I returned from the Sea of Ice, I went to Mu Wan's residence and sensed the ripples of a water-attributed formation. I hope the Waterhall can give me an explanation. The moment Mo Qingyun's words left his mouth, the surrounding atmosphere immediately became oppressive. Anyone who wasn't an idiot would be able to deduce that Lei Muan's disappearance had something to do with the Waterhall. It's too far-fetched to suspect our Waterhall just because of the ripples of the water element formation. Facing Mo Qingyun's question, Shui Hanqing's expression remained unchanged. She firmly denied Mo Qingyun's guess. Mo Qingyun had expected Shui Hanqing's answer. The smile on his face deepened as he said, just now, you suspected that Mu Wan's disappearance had something to do with me based on my visit to the frost pool. Why can't I suspect you now? You. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was using the excuse she had given, Shui Hanqing immediately flew into a rage. However, before Shui Hanqing could retort, Mo Qingyun looked at him in disdain and said, Old man of the Waterhall, although your basis is a little off, it's not completely unreasonable. Your mother's pregnancy does have a lot to do with the male dog that passed by your house. Bastard, how dare you insult me? Hearing Mo Qingyun insult him in a roundabout way, Shui Hanqing was completely enraged no matter how patient he was. Mo Qingyun had actually insulted him in a roundabout way in front of so many people. Mo Qingyun didn't care at all in the face of Shui Hanqing's anger. He admitted frankly with a faint smile, That's right, I'm insulting you. You're a bastard who betrays your sect and forgets your ancestors. You're going to have no descendants. You're going to be despised by all future generations. As the ancestor of the true Demon Hall, you clearly know that your disciple is bullying your fellow sect members, yet you didn't stop it at all. You betrayed the trust your sect members had in you. This is unrighteous. You clearly know that someone wants to touch the true Demon Hall, yet you still betray them. This is betraying your sect and forgetting your ancestors. This is disloyal and unfilial. A disloyal, unfilial, heartless bastard like you will naturally have no descendants. You'll be despised by everyone for eternity. Mo Qingyun's insults made Shui Hanqing's face pale. He was so angry that his body trembled. Mo Qingyun's words were too hurtful. More importantly, they weren't fake. This made him very afraid. If their actions were exposed, they would indeed be despised by all future generations. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, everyone was stunned. Their minds went blank. Mo Qingyun's actions were too crazy. He even insulted the ancestor. Gulp. Number 1 under heaven swallowed his saliva and said softly in shock, Boss Missouri is too awesome. He actually insulted the ancestor. He's not insulting the ancestor. He's insulting the ancestor directly. The kind that's very harsh. Hearing number one under heaven's words, unrivaled under heaven emphasized and said, I've decided. From today onwards, I'm going to act cool with old Mo and insult the ancestor for being too awesome. Count me in, Bing Baijun said excitedly. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Lei Gi and Mu Xia exchanged glances and revealed joyful smiles. Mo Qingyun's actions had completely messed up Shui Hanqing and the others' positions. They couldn't help but panic. This way, it would be much more difficult for Shui Hanqing and the others to find trouble. Mo Qingyun, even if us ancestors have failed in our duties, as a disciple, you shouldn't insult us. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was so overbearing that Shui Hanqing couldn't refute, Yun Xiangchao immediately changed the topic. Hearing Yun Xiangchao's words, Mo Qingyun glanced at him and said, Who are you? Do you have a right to speak when I'm speaking? You. Even with Yun Xiangchao's temperament, he couldn't help but get angry at Mo Qingyun's contemptuous attitude. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Yun Xiangchao's anger at all. He glanced at the people from the fire, earth, water, wind, and punishment halls and said, Listen up, people from the 5 halls. I don't like you. Get out of the ice hall immediately. Grandmaster's wedding banquet doesn't welcome you. Mo Qingyun's idea was simple. Instead of causing trouble during the wedding banquet, it was better to postpone the wedding banquet. It would be better to postpone the wedding banquet and solve the problem first before holding the wedding banquet slowly. Mo Qingyun's direct dismissal stunned everyone. They couldn't recover for a long time. What? You're chasing us away? Do you know the consequences of doing so? You're just an ordinary disciple. What right do you have to chase us away? Ask Polar Ice to come out. If you don't give us an explanation, don't blame us for being rude. Everyone was indignant at Mo Qingyun's attempt to chase them away. Mo Qingyun calmly took in everyone's angry expressions. He glanced at them and shouted, I'll give you 10 breaths of time to get out of the ice hall immediately. Otherwise, I'll treat it as you disrupting the wedding banquet and provoking the ice hall. 10, 9, 8. Chapter 29:15. Seeing Mo Qingyun's tough attitude, the people from the Thunder, Ice, Wood, and Gold Palaces were all shocked. They had heard of Mo Qingyun's dominance, but they didn't think that Mo Qingyun would be so crazy. Although his actions are a bit aggressive, there is some wisdom in them. This is indeed the best method. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Lei Gi nodded in praise. After chasing these guys away, the wedding banquet will be much smoother and the atmosphere will be much more harmonious. Hearing Lei Gi's words, Mu Xia he nodded in agreement. He thought so too. They probably won't leave so easily. They might even shed all pretense of cordiality until there's no end to it. While agreeing with Lei Gi's idea, Mu Xia he also revealed a worried expression. His expression gradually turned grave as he said, When that time comes, I'm afraid that this brat will not be able to intimidate those people. We have to help him. Of course. Lei Gi nodded with a faint smile. I feel that the kid is so reckless because he's thinking the same thing. He's preparing to push us out when the time comes. Hiss. Hearing Lei Gi's words, Mu Xia he couldn't help but gasp. If that's the case, then this kid's scheming is a bit scary. He's even tricked our ancestors. This kid isn't simple. Thinking of Mo Qingyun's actions, Lei Gi couldn't help but sigh. With such scheming, courage, and extraordinary battle strength, his future is immeasurable. I wonder if it's a good thing or a bad thing that the absolute beginning demon palace has such a disciple. Hearing Lei Gi's exclamation, Mu Xia he fell silent. He had the same worries. Then, the two of them sat down and quietly observed the development of the situation. As for Bing Pingyu and the others, they were completely dumbfounded. Their minds were in a mess. The situation had developed to such an extent that it was already out of their control. All they could do now was hope that when the time came, Lei Gi and Mu Xia he could come out and stabilize the situation. 3, 2, 1. Under the furious gazes of the people from the 5 palaces, Mo Qingyun slowly finished his countdown. Hearing Mo Qingyun finish his countdown, the hall master of the fire hall, Huopatian, looked at Mo Qingyun with disdain. He arrogantly raised his head and said, "Brat, even though you're strong, you still can't fight against so many of us. If polar snow doesn't give us an explanation today, we won't leave. What can you do to us?" At this moment, without waiting for Huopatian to finish his words, Mo Qingyun swung his sword at them. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, not only were Huopatian and the others shocked, but Lei Gi and the others were also shocked. They did not expect that Mo Qingyun would directly make a move without any room for negotiation. "Brat, how dare you?" Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Shui Hanqing and the others were enraged and rebuked Mo Qingyun. However, before they could say anything, the sword light had already arrived in front of them and swept towards them. Seeing such a scene, Shui Hanqing and the others did not dare to be careless. They immediately took action to defend against the sword light. However, what happened next gave Shui Hanqing and the others a fright. In front of Mo Qingyun's sword light, the defense they put up seemed to exist in vain. Bang, bang, bang. After being attacked by the sword light, the people from the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment halls were all sent flying. When they were sent flying, they vomited blood, and their faces were as pale as paper. Some of the weaker elders and deacons were directly killed and laid on the ground without any signs of life. Even Shui Hanqing and the others who were at the half-step Great Emperor realm turned pale, and their auras became weak. Seeing such an outcome, the people from the lightning, ice, wood, and metal halls were all stunned. With one sword, several initial sector lords were killed, and dozens of intermediate sector lords were heavily injured. Even the half-step Great Emperor realm experts were heavily injured by Mo Qingyun's sword. Such a battle record was too terrifying. We misjudged him again. The power of his sword is enough to shock any situation. Lei Gi smiled bitterly and shook his head when he saw the power of Mo Qingyun's sword. His emotions became complicated. This was the first time that he had misjudged a junior. Hearing Lei Gi's words, Mu Xia's emotions were also complicated. He felt that he could not see through Mo Qingyun. He said, not only that, he heavily injured the people from the 5 halls. Even if the 5 halls wanted to attack him, he would have a huge advantage. This sword is too crucial. You dare to kill your fellow sect members? Who gave you the courage? Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Shui Hanqing's face turned ashen. He gritted his teeth and glared at Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's actions were simply deranged, killing the hall masters and elders of the sect just because of a disagreement. Such actions were simply inhumane. Even if they had plotted against Lei Muin, they would have done it secretly, unlike Mo Qingyun who did it openly. Mo Qingyun didn't reply to Shui Hanqing's rebuke. He only revealed a cold smile and looked at Shui Hanqing with a mocking gaze. At this moment, a beautiful figure appeared beside Mo Qingyun. She looked coldly at Shui Hanqing and the others and said, "I gave him the authority. Do you have any questions?" Huopatian and the others immediately trembled in fear when they heard the beautiful figure's words. Lei Muin had been hiding nearby. It seemed like Mo Qingyun had received her instructions to do so. Young Hall Master, Lei Gi and Shui Hanqing were pleasantly surprised when they saw Lei Muin. Their expressions immediately became excited. To them, Lei Muin being safe and sound was the best thing that could happen to her. Lei Gi was excited. He suddenly understood and said, no wonder he was so familiar with what happened to the young Hall Master. It turns out that the young Hall Master told him about it personally. Then, he looked at the people from the 5 palaces, and his eyes were filled with anger. At this moment, he was completely sure that the 5 palaces were responsible for Lei Muin's disappearance. So his backing is the young Hall Master. This brat has hidden his strength well. Mu Xiahe was enlightened when she saw the beautiful girl in front of her. It was as if her doubts had been answered. With Lei Muin's support, Mo Qingyun didn't have to worry about anything. He could punish anyone he wanted. Young Young Home Master, it's impossible for her to be here. Half-step Great Emperor Realm. You're not the Young Hall Master. Who are you? Everyone calm down. Even if the Young Hall Master returns, she won't be able to change the situation. At this moment, we have no way out. Let's prepare to fight with all our might. Seeing Lei Yuan, Shui Hanqing, and the others' expressions changed and their gazes turned cold. Chapter 29:16. Young Hall Master, it's great to see that you're fine. Xiaoyi's face was full of excitement. She walked up to Lei Yuan and asked her, "A while ago, you suddenly disappeared. What happened? Was it really the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment halls?" Lei Gi was also nervous when he heard Mu Xiaoyi's words. He waited for Lei Yuan's answer. Although he had guessed that Mo Qingyun was telling the truth, he still didn't want to believe it. If the five halls really did that, then it would be as Mo Qingyun had said. They had all betrayed the sect. Most importantly, the thunder, ice, metal, and wood halls wouldn't be able to do anything to the five halls with their combined strength. That's right. Lei Yuan didn't hide anything from Mu Xiao's question and nodded honestly. Then Lei Yuan looked at Huopatian and the others. Her face was cold as she shouted, "Huopatian, Shui Qiaoning, Tu Wenlong, Feng Luing, Yun Zhaoan, the five of you led the elders of the halls to assassinate me. Kneel down and accept your punishment." Huopatian and the others exchanged glances when they heard Lei Yuan's reprimand. They then laughed complacently. They didn't care about Lei Yuan at all. It was as if they didn't want to hide their betrayal anymore. The corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly when he saw the reaction of Feng Wuqi and the others. He smiled faintly at Lei Yuan beside him. It seems like these traitors no longer intend to hide their actions. Shui Hanqing's face darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's insult. He looked at Mo Qingyun with murderous intent and said, "Brat, even if the Young Hall Master is protecting you, I will still kill you today. Is that so? I'd like to see how you'll kill my husband." As soon as Shui Hanqing spoke, Lei Yuan's face turned cold and she questioned him coldly. Hearing Lei Yuan's words, Shui Hanqing wasn't the only one who was shocked. The people around her were also shocked. What shocked them was not that Lei Yuan was protecting Mo Qingyun, but that she had said the word husband. Did I hear wrongly? The Young Hall Master addressed Mo Qingyun as husband? You didn't hear wrong. The Young Hall Master did say that just now. Mo Qingyun is really too awesome. A new disciple actually managed to take down the young palace master. I have no choice but to be impressed by him. He is not an ordinary disciple who has just entered the sect. His battle prowess is comparable to that of an ancestor. Only he is worthy of the Young Hall Master. The eyes of the surrounding disciples were filled with admiration. Compared to the shock of the other disciples, Invincible Under Heaven and the others were undoubtedly more shocked. Boss Missouri is indeed Boss Missouri. He actually managed to take down the Young Hall Master. Boss Missouri really didn't disappoint us. He really turned the Young Hall Master into his sister-in-law. Senior Brother Mo's ability to act tough has already reached the peak. Bing Baijun and the others were extremely excited. Their admiration for Mo Qingyun had reached the peak. Hearing Lei Yuan's words, Lei Gi and Feng Tianyi were also dumbfounded. They did not know what to say for a long time. No matter how good their imagination was, they did not expect such an outcome. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Mo Qingyun looked at Huopatian and the others with a faint smile and said, "Speaking of which, I have to thank all of you for adding fuel to the fire for me to be with Muwan. In order to express my gratitude, I'll leave your corpses intact." Shameless boasting. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Wind Palace's patriarch, Feng Wuqi, snorted and charged at Mo Qingyun. "You sharp-tongued brat. I'll take you down first. Let's see how you continue to be so smug." Facing Feng Wuqi's attack, Mo Qingyun did not retreat at all. Instead, he took the initiative to go up to him and said, "If you were in your peak state, you might be able to threaten me. But now, how much of your combat strength can you unleash?" Under Mo Qingyun's attack, Feng Wuqi was the most severely injured. He only had 70% of his combat strength left. In other words, his current strength was not much stronger than Navy Lei and the others. In that case, Mo Qingyun would not be afraid of his attack. Ignore defense. Time flies. Although Mo Qingyun was not afraid of Feng Wuqi, he did not let his guard down. He immediately slashed at him. Mo Qingyun waved the Nine-Bull Divine Sword and blasted out a sword radiance, blocking Feng Wuqi's path. I was careless just now and accidentally fell into your trap. Now, watch how I break your sword move. Looking at the sword radiance coming at him, Feng Wuqi did not dodge at all. Instead, he kicked the sword radiance. Feng Wuqi swept his right leg and blasted out a foot shadow to meet the sword radiance. However, the sword radiance was not affected at all by the foot shadow's obstruction. It went straight through. How? How can this be? Seeing this, Feng Wuqi was stunned. His eyes were wide open. He could not believe that he could not break the sword radiance, even after using all his strength to block it. To be exact, his all-out attack had no effect on the sword radiance. Bang! While Feng Wuqi was still in shock, the sword gleam struck him and sent him flying with a domineering force. After being hit by the sword radiance, Feng Wuqi immediately spat out blood, and his aura rapidly weakened. Patriarch, seeing that Feng Wuqi had been sent flying, the Wind Hall Master and elders immediately flew towards him. By the time they supported Feng Wuqi, his aura had already dropped to the lowest point. It seemed like he could no longer continue fighting. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had crippled Feng Wuqi with one strike, the surrounding people were all stunned. They could not help but feel a chill run down their spines. Even though Feng Wuqi was severely injured, he was still a half-step great emperor. Mo Qingyun's combat strength was too terrifying to be able to cripple a half-step great emperor with one strike. Patriarch Lei Gi, can you tell how strong that kid is? Seeing that Feng Wuqi had been crippled, Mu Xiaohe's old face trembled as he asked Lei Gi nervously. In his opinion, Lei Gi was the strongest and should be able to tell how strong Mo Qingyun was. Hearing Mu Xiaohe's question, Lei Gi smiled bitterly and shook his head. That kid has not used his full strength from the beginning. I can't tell how strong he is. Right now, he might only be using 70% of his strength. He only used 70% of his strength, and he already has such combat strength. Terrifying. Lei Gi's reply frightened Summerwood. He couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Without waiting for Mu Xiaohe to calm down, Lei Gi paused and said he might not even be using 70% of his strength. Hiss! Lei Gi's words made Summerwood suck in a breath of cold air. If that was the case, Mo Qingyun's true strength was a little terrifying. Most likely, if a great Emperor Realm powerhouse did not make a move, they would not be able to suppress Mo Qingyun. Chapter 29:17. The more Xiao Mu thought about it, the more shocked he was. The way he looked at Mo Qingyun was constantly changing. Fortunately, when he first met Mo Qingyun, he didn't use his status to interrogate Mo Qingyun. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. He might end up like Feng Wuqi. Don't think too much. The stronger he is, the better it is for us. Lei Gi smiled faintly and comforted Xiao Mu when he saw the change in his expression. Xiao Mu's expression improved a little when he heard Lei Gi's comforting words. He knew that he was overthinking. Although Mo Qingyun was arrogant and overbearing, he wasn't a calculative person. Where did this damn brat come from? He's so difficult to deal with. Shui Hanqing's face turned ashen when she saw Feng Wuqi lose his ability to fight. She was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Their plan had been completely disrupted by Mo Qingyun's interference. They had completely lost their order. In addition, Feng Wuqi had lost his ability to fight. The situation was extremely bad for them. After crippling Feng Wuqi, Mo Qingyun didn't follow up with another attack. Instead, he looked coldly at the people of the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment halls. After scanning the crowd, Mo Qingyun said slowly, "People of the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment halls, listen up. Other than the Hall Master and the Great Elder, If the rest of you admit your mistakes now, I can ask Mu Wan to forgive you. Otherwise, you will die without a complete corpse." After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the people of the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment halls were a little tempted. To them, rebelling against their superiors was always disgraceful. More importantly, judging from the strength that Mo Qingyun had displayed, the situation didn't look good for them. Including Mo Qingyun, there were 4 half-step great emperors in the lightning, ice, metal, and wood halls. Among the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment halls, other than Feng Wuqi, who had lost his ability to fight, there were only 2 half-step great emperors, Shui Hanqing and Yun Xiangqiao. It was obvious who was stronger and who was weaker. I'm willing to admit my wrongs. Young Hall Master, please forgive me. Young Hall Master, please spare my life. I had no choice but to listen to their instructions. I don't know anything. As long as Young Hall Master spares my life, I'm willing to fight against them. Everyone hesitated for a moment before admitting their mistakes and begging for mercy. In just a short moment, dozens of sector lords admitted their mistakes, causing the battle strength of both sides to be reversed. Seeing such a situation, Lei Gi and the others' expressions relaxed, and a faint smile appeared on their faces. Judging from the current situation, the situation was already under their control. Shui Hanqing and the others had already lost. Seeing the people around them begging for mercy, the faces of Shui Hanqing and the others darkened. If this continued, the situation would become even more disadvantageous to them. They couldn't wait any longer. Mo Qingyun, do you really think that you have everything under control? Seeing the situation getting out of control, Yun Xiangqiao didn't dare to hide anymore. He was prepared to use his final trump card. Hearing Yun Xiangqiao's words, Mo Qingyun understood what he meant. He smiled calmly. I know that you guys still have final trump card. Get the Dark Devil race to come out. Mo Qingyun's words shocked Yun Xiangqiao and the others. They didn't expect Mo Qingyun to know about this. Mo Qingyun could still be so calm with the Dark Devil race behind him. It was clear that he had some trump cards. Those trump cards were unknown to others. That was the most terrifying thing. Yun Xiangqiao felt even more uneasy when he thought about this. Yun Xiangqiao, you guys actually sided with the Dark Devil race. Do you want to destroy the absolute beginning Devil Hall? After knowing about Yun Xiangqiao and the others, Lei Gi was completely enraged. His face darkened as he scolded. If it was just a fight between fellow sect members, he could still maintain his rationality. But he couldn't accept that Yun Xiangqiao and the others sided with the Dark Devil race. Siding with the Dark Devil race was equivalent to becoming enemies with the entire universe. This was simply an act of digging one's own grave. While Lei Gi was scolding, a young man in black robes came to Yun Xiangqiao's side and said, "Everyone, I'm very doubtful of your ability to handle matters." Yun Xiangqiao and the others showed a respectful expression when they saw this young man. They immediately bowed to the young man and said, "Greetings, 11th Devil Son. We didn't do our job well. Please punish us. I'll let it go this time. If there's a next time, I won't be polite." The black-robed young man waved his hand casually at the actions of Yun Xiangqiao and the others. He didn't even look at them. After pardoning Yun Xiangqiao and the others, the black-robed young man looked at Mo Qingyun and said, "I really didn't expect that you would actually grow to this extent in just a few short years. Ziqingrong, it's actually you." Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the black-robed young man before him. He stared at the other party. He hadn't expected to meet him here. "I'm not Ziqingrong. I'm Ziqingxie, Ziqingrong's twin brother." Under Mo Qingyun's shocked gaze, the black-robed young man shook his head and smiled faintly. "As expected of the person who made my big brother suffer. You really do have some ability. It would be a pity if someone as capable as you died. I'll give you a chance now. If you're willing to submit to my clan, I can make you the master of Star Region when my clan unifies the 10,000 worlds in the future." You want to bribe me with a mere master of Star Region? Aren't you underestimating my appetite too much? Hearing Ziqingxie's words, Mo Qingyun smiled disdainfully and said, "Furthermore, isn't it a little too ridiculous for a clan that hides its head but shows its tail and wants to unify the 10,000 worlds in the future? You should learn how to tuck your tail between your legs first." Mo Qingyun's mocking words made Zi Chengxie's face darken. He was enraged and said, "It seems like you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. Since you don't know how to seize the opportunity, don't cry and regret later." After Zi Chengxie finished speaking, he placed his hands behind his back and shouted, "Don't hide anymore. Come out and take down all these people." Hearing Zi Chengxie's order, the experts hiding in the true absolute beginning Devil Hall immediately revealed themselves. In just a short while, close to 100 sector lords gathered around Mo Qingyun and the others. What surprised Mo Qingyun the most was that there were actually 2 half-step great emperors in front of the close to 100 world lords. Looking at the 2 half-step great emperors, Lei Gi and the others were shocked. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. "Hua Junkin, Tu Run, the 2 of you actually didn't die." After recognizing the 2 of them, Lei Gi was shocked and his eyes turned gloomy. The 2 of them were the old ancestors of the Fire Hall and Earth Hall. They had gone to the secret territory with the old Hall Master, and since then, there had been no news of them. Everyone thought that they had died with the old Hall Master. They didn't expect to see them here. Chapter 29:18. Long time no see, old friends. How have you been? Looking at Lei Gi and the others before him, Hua Junkin chuckled and greeted them. After greeting them, Tu Ren looked at Lei Gi and Yi Qingyu with a simple and honest look on his face and said, "My 2 old friends, the dark demon race has already unified the myriad worlds. It is already an unstoppable thing. You don't need to resist anymore and follow the will of heaven with us." "Shut up, traitor." Hearing Tu Ren's words, Lei Gi's face was filled with anger as he loudly reprimanded him. Tu Ren didn't try to persuade Lei Gi anymore. He charged at Lei Gi and said, "We're serving different masters now. Since you're not willing to submit, I'll have to offend you. I'll kill you today, traitor. I'll take revenge for the old palace master and the ancestors of the ice and metal palaces." Lei Gi's eyes almost popped out when he saw Tu Ren charging at him. He emitted a strong, killing intent. Then, the 2 of them started fighting. It was hard to tell who had the upper hand. Hua Junkin didn't waste any time either. He charged at Mu Xiaohe and said, "Ancestor Mu Xiaohe, you're not my match. Give up resisting. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me." Mu Xiaohe was determined to die after hearing Hua Junkin's words. Then, the 2 of them started fighting as well. It was a fight to the death. While the 4 old ancestors were fighting, the hall masters and elders of the various palaces were also fighting one after another. Mo Qingyun's sword had injured the people of the fire, water, earth, wind, and punishment palaces. As a result, the thunder, ice, wood, and metal palaces had the advantage even though they didn't have as many people. A moment later, among the disciples of the true Grand Primordium Devil Hall, other than Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan, only Shui Hanqing and Yun Xiangqiao remained. Zi Chengxie smiled brightly when he saw the internal conflict. "Zi Cheng, it's been a long time since you've seen such a scene, right? 11th Devil Son, how should we deal with the remaining 2 people?" Hearing Zi Chengxie's question, Zi Cheng smiled faintly and nodded his head. He looked at Mo Qingyun and Su Mo. Hearing Zi Cheng's question, Zi Chengxie pursed his lips and said, "With the strength of those 2 old fellows, I'm afraid that they won't be able to deal with Mo Qingyun and his companion. Go and lend them a hand." "Yes," Zi Cheng responded and rushed towards Lei Yuan. At the same time, he urged Shui Hanqing, "What are you 2 waiting for? Hurry up and deal with them. Let's do it now." Hearing Zi Cheng's urging, Yun Xiangqiao and the other man immediately responded and attacked Mo Qingyun and the other man. Then, Yun Xiangqiao joined forces with Zi Cheng to deal with Lei Yuan. Shui Hanqing flew towards Mo Qingyun with a complacent look on her face. "Mo Qingyun, you didn't expect things to turn out like this, did you? You seem to be very happy." Hearing Shui Hanqing's words, Mo Qingyun did not panic at all. He smiled faintly and said, "Don't you think that you don't have much of a chance of winning if you fight with me?" Mo Qingyun's question immediately caused Shui Hanqing's smile to freeze. Panic flashed across her eyes. Although Feng Wuqi's strength was not as strong as his movement technique was far superior. However, Mo Qingyun had crippled his combat strength with one strike. In that case, she really did not have much of a chance of winning if she fought with Mo Qingyun. After calming herself down, Shui Hanqing snorted coldly and said, "Humph, even if I may not be able to defeat you, as long as I can hold you back and wait for the others to finish their battle, death will await you. It's not that I look down on you, but you won't be able to wait until that moment." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he moved and charged towards Shui Hanqing. He waved the nine-bull divine sword and slashed out a sharp sword light towards Shui Hanqing. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's power, Shui Hanqing did not dare to take the sword light head-on. She immediately dodged it. Seeing Shui Hanqing's performance, Zi Changxie frowned, and a look of shock flashed across his face. He said, "I did not expect that even a half-step to Great Emperor Realm expert could not suppress him. This guy's strength is indeed strange. Looks like I have to get rid of him first." After thinking about it, Zi Changxie made a decision and a cold light flashed across his eyes. Then, Zi Changxie's figure flashed, and he launched a sneak attack on Mo Qingyun. Sneak attack? Zi Changxie's action did not escape Mo Qingyun's senses. He had just moved when he was detected. Seeing that Zi Changxie was attacking him, Mo Qingyun summoned Enchun and shouted, "Enchun, stop this person for me." "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Enchun immediately carried out the order and blocked Zi Changxie's attack. Seeing that his attack was blocked, a look of shock flashed across Zi Changxie's eyes. He was caught off guard by this turn of events. Now that Enchun had taken care of the potential threat, Zi Changxie, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Without that guy by my side, I can take care of you with ease. When you were fighting with me, you were guarding against the 11th Devil Son." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shui Hanqing was shocked and his old face immediately tensed up. He had not expected that Mo Qingyun would split a portion of his spiritual consciousness when they were fighting. This was too terrifying. At that moment, just as Shui Hanqing was distracted, a terrifying aura appeared behind him. A quasi-emperor-to-be expert. Sensing the aura behind him, Shui Hanqing's heart trembled and he felt a chill down his spine. After that, he didn't dare hesitate in the slightest as he prepared to escape the lock of that intent. However, before Shui Hanqing could escape, his back was hit by a force. Boom! After being hit by the force, Shui Hanqing was sent flying. Blood flowed out of his 7 orifices and his face turned as pale as a sheet. At the same time, the aura that Shui Hanqing exuded was weakening rapidly. In just one move, Shui Hanqing, who was a half-step to the Emperor Realm, had completely lost his combat strength. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people who were fighting were all shocked. A quasi-emperor-to-be expert. Mo Qingyun actually has such an expert by his side. This lad has hidden his strength well. He actually has 2 top experts by his side. It's really terrifying to encounter such an enemy. Seeing Gufan's corpse and Enchun, the crowd was shocked. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, no one would have thought that Mo Qingyun would have such an expert by his side. Great! Seeing that Shui Hanqing was crippled, Lei Gi and Mu Xiaohe were overjoyed and shouted excitedly. With the addition of Gufan's corpse and Enchun, as well as the loss of Shui Hanqing's combat strength, the situation was turned around. "Muin, go and deal with Wapogang. Leave these 2 to me." After crippling Shui Hanqing, Mo Qingyun instructed Lei Muin to stop Yin Xiangchao and Enchun. After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Lei Muin did not hesitate and immediately flew toward Huajunkan. Chapter 2919. With the addition of Lei Muin, Mu Xiao's situation was greatly alleviated. Seeing that his situation had improved, Mu Xiao smiled faintly. He looked coldly at Hua Junkin and said, Hua Junkin, it seems that the person who is going to die today is not me, but you. As soon as Mu Xia finished speaking, he attacked fiercely. Working together with Lame Yuan, he suppressed Hua Junkin to the point that he could only defend himself. Seeing that the situation had changed, Hua Junkin's expression immediately became serious. Although he was stronger than Mu Xiaohi, he was only slightly stronger. Now that Lame Yuan had joined, he was no match for her. Or rather, it would be difficult for him to even resist. In such a situation, if no one came to help him, he would be killed by the two in a few dozen rounds. Thinking of this, Hua Junkin began to panic. He began to look all around. With one look, Hua Junkin's expression turned even uglier. The people around him were not in a better situation than him. How could this be? It was clearly a sure-win situation. After understanding the situation, Hua Junkin was agitated. He could not accept the result for a long time. The contrast between before and after was too great, making him feel that it was a little unreal. Hua Junkin, I will kill you today to avenge my father. Looking at the panicked Hua Junkin, Lame Yuan said coldly with a cold face. Immediately after, her attacks became a bit more ferocious. As Lame Yuan's attacks became stronger, Hua Junkin's situation became even worse. He was in a perilous situation. From the looks of it, Mu Wan's situation should be fine. Sensing the situation of Lame Yuan and Mu Xia, Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction. Then, he checked on Enchun and the others. Under Mo Qingyun's perception, he had a clear understanding of the situation of Enchun and the others. Enchun and Zi Chengxia were locked in a fierce battle. They were evenly matched, and it was difficult to determine who was stronger. In the battle between Lei Gi and Tu Run, Lei Gi had the upper hand and was suppressing Tu Run. Due to Tu Ren's terrifying physique and powerful defense, it would not be easy for Lei Gi to kill him. However, the current situation was very advantageous for Mo Qingyun and the others. This was because once Mo Qingyun and Lame Yuan defeated each other, this situation would be broken. It looks like we'll have to rely on Mu Wan and me to break this stalemate. Understanding the current situation, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile as he retracted his divine sense. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was distracted, Zi Chong, who was fighting with him, shouted angrily with a cold face, "Arrogant kid! You dare to pay attention to your surroundings while fighting with me." Hearing Zi Chong's words, Yin Xiang Chao's old face trembled. His eyes flashed with intense shock. The fact that Mo Qingyun could confront Zi Chong directly had already frightened him. He didn't expect that Mo Qingyun still hadn't concentrated. This was a little unreasonable, almost a little perverted. If I had concentrated, would you have been able to live until now? The corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly as he looked at Zi Chong. There was disdain in his eyes as he said, "Since you are tired of living, I will do as you wish and send you on your way." Space Gate. Time Gate. With a thought, Mo Qingyun released 2 superpowers in succession to increase his combat strength. Soon, 2 light gates that emitted a mysterious power formed beside Mo Qingyun and entered his body. Space imprisonment, time prohibition. Sensing the power of the laws that he had obtained, the smile on Mo Qingyun's face widened. He said with a smile, "Looks like you are very unlucky. Even the heavens are not helping you." Double space imprisonment. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he no longer held back and immediately released the space imprisonment nomological law. Once the space imprisonment nomological law was released, the space around Zichong was forcefully sealed. How? How can this be? Zichong panicked when he realized that his mobility had been sealed by a domineering power. This change was too sudden for him, and he was not prepared for it at all. However, Zichong was not an ordinary person. After a short moment of panic, he regained his composure and started to gather power to attack the space around him. What's going on? Lord Zichong seems to have suffered a loss at his hands. Seeing Zichong's reaction, Yun Xiangchao, who was beside him, panicked. His old face could not help but twitch. He knew very well that if Zichang was defeated, only death would await him. At that moment, just as Yin Xiangqiao was panicking, something terrifying happened. He suddenly realized that other than his consciousness that could still move, everything around him was still. This is the time prohibition nomological law. No, it is not the time prohibition nomological law. It is much stronger than the time prohibition nomological law. Sensing his own situation, Yin Xiangqiao's heart skipped a beat, and he had a bad feeling. Immediately, he activated the time rule and broke through the surrounding nomological power. When Yin Xiangqiao broke through the time prohibition nomological law, a threatening sword light and a flaming palm shadow blasted toward him. Oh no! Seeing the approaching sword light and palm shadow, Yin Xiangqiao's pupils constricted and his old face turned pale. He was doomed. Mo Qingyun actually turned his spear around and charged at him. With his current strength, he could not block the combined attack of Mo Qingyun and Gu Fan's corpse. Although he knew that he could not block it, Yin Xiangqiao did not wait for death. Instead, he used all his strength to defend against the palm shadow. In his opinion, Gu Fan's corpse was at the Emperor-to-be realm, and the attack would cause more damage to him. Although Mo Qingyun's strength was shocking, his cultivation was lower and the damage he could cause to him would be limited. Bang! The sword light flashed and blasted Yin Xiangqiao's body, sending him flying. What shocked Yin Xiangqiao was that the sword light that Mo Qingyun blasted out did not weaken after hitting him. What is this superpower? How can its power be so overbearing? Sensing the power of the sword light, Yin Xiangqiao's eyes widened, and he could not understand the situation. Before Yin Xiangqiao could calm down, he saw Mo Qingyun chasing after him and slashing his sword at him. Bang! The sword light flashed and blasted Yin Xiangqiao's body, sending him flying out of the hall and crashing into an ice mountain. When Yin Xiangqiao's body came to a stop, the aura that he exuded was extremely weak, and he had lost the ability to continue fighting. Yin Xiangqiao was crippled. Zi Chengxie and the others' faces darkened when they heard the result. The tables had turned. If they did not think of a solution, they would be killed one by one. When Zi Chengxie thought of this, his face darkened and he stared at Mo Qingyun. Chapter 29:20. Lad, how dare you spoil my plans? I will not let you off, Zi Chengxie shouted angrily as his many years of hard work were about to be destroyed by Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun ignored Zi Chengxie's angry shout and turned to attack Zichang. Facing Mo Qingyun's attack, Zichang's face twitched and fear flashed across his eyes. Even when he and Yin Xiangqiao had teamed up, they were still no match for Mo Qingyun and Gu Fan's corpse, let alone Zichang alone. Knowing his predicament, Zichang did not dare to hesitate and immediately turned to escape. If he did not escape, he would end up like Yin Xiangqiao and be crippled by Mo Qingyun's attack. You can escape, but Zi Chengxie can forget about it. The corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly as he looked at Zichang, who was running for his life. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he turned and flew towards Zi Chengxie. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Zichang's body trembled and a look of panic appeared on his face. If Zi Chengxie was killed, even if he managed to escape, he would be severely punished. That kind of result was not something he could bear. Lad, you win. Zichang gritted his teeth and shouted coldly. He flew toward Mo Qingyun, intending to stop Mo Qingyun. Seeing that Zichang had taken the initiative to approach him, the smile on Mo Qingyun's face became wider, and he said, I can't tell that you are quite loyal. After Mo Qingyun said that, he waved the divine nine-bull sword and slashed it towards Zichang. Eternal age. Defense ignore. Eternity. Space imprisonment. When Mo Qingyun waved his sword, he also activated a few types of laws to increase the power of the sword. The divine nine-bull sword flashed, and a sword radiance was slashed towards Zichang. In the face of the incoming sword light, Zichang's expression trembled, and a trace of panic flashed across his face. From Mo Qingyun's previous attacks, he could already tell that Mo Qingyun's sacred art couldn't be resisted directly. Then, he prepared to dodge Mo Qingyun's sword. However, before he could dodge, he discovered that the space around him had been sealed by a force once again. This brat's laws are too strange. When he discovered that the space around him had been sealed by another force, he gnashed his teeth in anger. When he fought with Mo Qingyun, he felt a strong sense of powerlessness, as if he was punching a sandbag. While Zichang was furious, he did not hesitate and immediately blocked the approaching sword light. The clear palm of Taichu. Zichang clasped his palms together and crazily condensed his saint power, releasing a dazzling green light. Soon, a palm shadow was formed and blasted in front of him, causing the space to shatter. In a short moment, the space that had sealed Zichang was shattered by the palm shadow. After the space around him was shattered, Zichang did not dare to be careless and immediately dodged. If one sword can't stop you, then let's do it again. Seeing that Zichang wanted to dodge the sword radiance, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of him. Mo Qingyun waved his arm and wielded the divine nine-bowl sword, slashing toward Zichang. Soon, a stronger sword radiance blocked Zichang's path of retreat. No, seeing that he was pincered by two sword radiances, Zichang's eyes widened and a strong sense of unwillingness appeared in his eyes. Then, the two sword radiances hit Zichang and penetrated his body. Puffed. After being hit by the sword radiances, Zichang spat out blood, and his face turned as pale as a sheet. At the same time, the aura that he exuded was rapidly weakening. Zichang. Looking at Zichang's unfocused eyes, Zichang's eyes trembled, and he clenched his fists tightly. He did not care that Yin Xiangqiao and the others were killed. However, Zichang was different. Zichang was his general and his closest confidant. Now that Zichang was killed by Mo Qingyun, it was a huge blow to him. 11th Devil's Son, run! Hearing Zichang's words, Zichang's face was filled with difficulty as he reminded Zichangxie. Looking at Zichang, who had lost his ability to fight, Zichangxie's face turned pale. He stared at Mo Qingyun and said, "Boy, I will remember what happened today. Next time, I will get back at you." Your lines are the same. Can't you use something new? Hearing Zichangxie's words, Mo Qingyun curled his lips and said with disdain, "I will not kill you today. Go back and send a message to your people. Tell them to wash their necks and wait to be killed one by one." Mo Qingyun's arrogant words angered Zichangxie once again. Without saying a word, he turned around and escaped. Mo Qingyun did not chase after Zichangxie as he left. Instead, he looked at Lame Yuan. With Lame Yuan's help, Hu Junkin had been killed. Now, only Tu Ren was left. However, looking at Tu Ren's current situation, he would not be able to hold on for long. "Qingyun, why did you let Zichangxie escape? What if he calls for reinforcements?" After killing Hu Junkin, Mu Xia he came to Mo Qingyun's side and asked with a solemn face. Hearing Mu Xia's question, Mo Qingyun shook his head helplessly and said, "Zichangxie is very powerful. Let's not talk about whether I can kill him or not. If I really kill him, I will definitely anger the Dark Demon tribe and attract a true Emperor Realm expert. With the current strength of the true absolute beginning Demon Hall, they are still unable to fight against an Emperor Realm expert. Therefore, it is not a wise choice to kill Zichangxie." Mo Qingyun's analysis made Mu Xia and the others nod their heads continuously. They felt that his consideration was very reasonable. While Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, Tu Ren was also killed by Lame Yuan. His face was filled with unwillingness as he died. After killing Tu Ren, the expression on Lame Yuan's face became much more relaxed. Looking at her, it was as if a heavy burden had been lifted off her shoulders. "Qingyun, thank you." Lame Yuan was touched when she came to Mo Qingyun's side. She thanked Mo Qingyun. In response to Lame Yuan's gratitude, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and waved his hand. He said, There is no need for such things between us. Mo Qingyun's reply made Lei Yuan blush. She smiled and nodded. Qingyun, Shui Hanqing, Yunxiang Chao, and Feng Wuqi. How should we deal with them? Lei Yuan looked at the few people who had temporarily lost their ability to fight. She asked Mo Qingyun for his opinion. Hearing Lei Yuan's question, Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and said, although the three of them have committed heinous crimes, they have decent fighting strength. Keeping them alive is still useful to the true, absolute, beginning demon hall. If they are willing to be branded with a soul mark, we can keep them alive. If they are unwilling, we can only kill them. Your suggestion is good. We will do as you say. Lei Yuan didn't think too much about Mo Qingyun's suggestion and immediately nodded in agreement. Chapter 29-21. We are willing to be branded with a soul mark. Seeing that they had a chance to live, the three of them agreed to be branded with a soul mark. Seeing their attitude, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and a faint smile appeared on his face. If he killed the three of them, the strength of the true, absolute beginning demon hall would undoubtedly be greatly reduced. Such an outcome would undoubtedly be disastrous. After branding the three of them with a soul mark, Mo Qingyun turned to Mu Xiahe and the others. Due to Zi Chengxie and the others' interference, Grandmaster's wedding was ruined. I'll have to trouble you to redecorate it. Leave this small matter to us. Mu Xiahe and the others agreed happily and began to redecorate the venue. With Mu Xiahe and the others' help, the damaged hall was restored to its original state in the blink of an eye. Not long after, seeing that everything was ready, Polar Snow's wedding began. Due to the exposure of Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan's relationship, everyone's attitude towards him had clearly become more respectful. Everyone knew that if this trend continued, the future hall master of the true, absolute beginning demon hall might very well be Mo Qingyun. Thinking of Mo Qingyun's future, some of the disciples in the hall looked at Mo Qingyun with intense admiration. Boss Missouri, when are you and the young hall master getting married? Boss Missouri, can you teach me some techniques to pick up girls? Sitting beside Mo Qingyun, Invincible Under Heaven and the others asked excitedly. Hearing their words, Lei Yuan's face turned cold and she glared fiercely at them. Sensing Lei Yuan's gaze, the few of them shrank back in fear and immediately shrank to the side. Seeing Lei Yuan's actions and the others' reactions, Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile, but didn't try to stop them. Although he had a good relationship with them, Lei Yuan's identity was different and it didn't reduce his deterrence. In the following time, everyone chatted and laughed as they congratulated Polar Snow. Several hours later, Polar Snow and Murong Nana's wedding banquet had come to an end. After sending Polar Snow and Murong Nana into the bridal chamber, everyone bid farewell to Mo Qingyun and Murong Nana before returning to their respective halls. Qingyun, follow me to the Thunder Hall and train together. After everyone left, Lei Yuan blushed and whispered to Mo Qingyun. Hearing Lei Yuan's words, Mo Qingyun's face flashed with surprise. He couldn't help but turn to look at Lei Yuan. Seeing her blushing face, Mo Qingyun understood what she meant. Previously, Lei Yuan had said that she was not used to it during the day. It seemed like she wanted to compensate him at night. All right, Mo Qingyun nodded and left with Lei Yuan. Not long after, Mo Qingyun arrived at Lei Yuan's small courtyard and entered the house. Rise. In order to prevent others from disturbing him, Mo Qingyun took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and enveloped the small courtyard. Lei Yuan didn't stop Mo Qingyun's actions, but her face turned even redder. After Mo Qingyun finished everything, he carried Lei Yuan and walked towards Lei Yuan's room. Lei Yuan nestled in Mo Qingyun's arms. The two looked at each other and tenderness spread out. Walking to the bedside, Mo Qingyun gently put Lei Yuan down and kissed her red lips. Lei Yuan trembled slightly. She reached out her jade pendant and wrapped it around Mo Qingyun's neck. Soon after, The two were entangled together and let out blissful moans. Fortunately, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell isolated them. Otherwise, they would definitely alarm the disciples of the Thunder Hall. While Mo Qingyun and Luo Yinyang were entangled, the auras they exuded were also rising rapidly. Although it wasn't as terrifying as the first time, the increase was still huge. I didn't expect that the effects of dual cultivation would be so great. Seeing his cultivation increase by leaps and bounds, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock and disbelief. Calming himself down, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. If this trend continues, I will be able to break through to the Sector Lord realm after 3 to 5 more times. At that time, even if I encounter an Emperor realm expert, I will be able to deal with them. Mo Qingyun thought in his heart. He looked at Lei Yuan and smiled faintly. The current situation isn't good. We have to continue working hard and raise our cultivation as soon as possible. Soon after, Mo Qingyun kissed Lei Yuan and rubbed her body. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lei Yuan blushed but didn't resist. Soon after, the two were entangled together and let out blissful moans. Several hours later, Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan stopped and snuggled together on the small bed. Now that the traitors in the sect have basically been caught, what do you plan to do next? Looking at the beauty in his arms, Mo Qingyun showed a concerned expression and asked her about her thoughts. Lei Yuan's beautiful eyes trembled when she heard Mo Qingyun's question. She said, "What I'm thinking right now is to find my father's body and eliminate the remaining enemies. I will do my best to help you." Knowing Lei Yuan's thoughts, Mo Qingyun showed a solemn expression and gave her promise. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lei Yuan's gaze softened and a sweet smile appeared on her face. "All right, we should go out. Ancestor Lei Gi and the others must have something to ask you." After being entangled with Lei Yuan for a while, Mo Qingyun reminded her to put on her clothes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lei Yuan nodded and quickly put on her clothes. Then, the two removed the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and walked out of the small room. Just as Mo Qingyun expected, Lei Gi and the others were waiting here with heavy expressions. Seeing their expressions, Mo Qingyun frowned and asked in a deep voice, "Ancestors, what happened? Why do you all look so heavy?" Not long ago, the Prime Clear Buzhou Palace sent out news that their palace master has broken through to the Emperor realm. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Lei Gi's expression was heavy as he revealed a piece of important news. Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan's expressions turned grave when they heard Lei Gi's words. The Prime Clear Buzhou Palace and the True Devil Hall of Absolute Beginning had always been like fire and water. It was a situation where there was neither of them. Now that the palace master of the Prime Clear Buzhou Palace had broken through, this was definitely not good news for the True Devil Hall of Absolute Beginning. Before Mo Qingyun and Lei Gi could recover from their shock, Mu Xia added in a heavy tone, "Not only that, the Prime Clear Buzhou Palace sent someone over to celebrate the palace master's breakthrough to the Emperor realm. They invited the young hall master to a banquet." "A banquet?" Mo Qingyun and Lei Yuan squinted their eyes and couldn't help but exchange glances. They had vaguely guessed something. Chapter 29-22. When is the banquet? Mo Qingyun was very clear that it was impossible to avoid an invitation from the Buzhou Palace of the Prime Clear sect. If they refused, they might fall into the trap and give the other party an excuse to cause trouble. What they could do now was to make preparations to deal with all kinds of changes. 1 month later, Lei Gi said with a serious face. Mu Xia's face tightened as soon as Lei Gi finished. "It's far from here to Buzhou Palace. It will take half a month even if we travel at full speed. Therefore, we only have half a month to prepare." "Only 1 month? It's a little tight." Mo Qingyun frowned as he pondered. "If I can break through to the Sector Lord realm within a month, I'll have more confidence when I attend the banquet." Mo Qingyun started to think about how to break through to the Sector Lord realm as soon as he thought of this. Seeing Mo Qingyun silent, Lei Gi and the others didn't disturb him. After a while, Mo Qingyun shook his head. He couldn't think of a good idea. He waved his hand to Lei Gi and the others. Two old ancestors, you can go back first. I will discuss this with Muin. All right. Lei Gi and the other old ancestor nodded and left Lei Muin's residence. After the duo left, Lei Muin furrowed her brows and said in a low voice, I've decided to find the spirit of the Thunder Lake Ice Phoenix and try to inherit the remaining part of its inheritance within half a month. Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement after knowing Lei Muin's idea. If Lei Muin got the complete inheritance, she might be able to improve her cultivation. At that time, she would have more confidence in going to Buzhou Palace. Let's go. After knowing Lei Muin's idea, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste time and immediately understood Lei Muin's idea. Immediately, Mo Qingyun and Lei Muin rushed towards the Azure Lake. As soon as the two of them entered the Blue Frost Lake, Lei Muin connected with the Thunder Ice Phoenix's spirit through her soul. Whoosh! Under the guidance of the Lightning Ice Phoenix spirit, the two entered the array and saw an icy blue shadow. Looking at the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix in the sky, Lei Muin said with a solemn expression, Senior, I am ready. I want to accept the remaining inheritance. All right. The spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix was not surprised by Lei Muin's request and agreed without hesitation. Shortly after, the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix formed an imprint and sent it into the altar. A brilliant icy blue light burst out from the altar, giving off a terrifying power. You may enter. After activating the altar, the spirit of the Luai's Ice Phoenix signaled Lei Muin to enter and receive the inheritance. Hearing the spirit of the Luai's Ice Phoenix's instruction, Lei Muin entered. Seeing that Lei Muin was accepting the inheritance, Mo Qingyun sat on the ground and took out Gu Fan's corpse. A quasi-emperor's corpse. Seeing that Mo Qingyun took out Gu Fan's corpse, the spirit of the Luai's Ice Phoenix was shocked and began to inspect Gu Fan's corpse. After a round of inspection, the spirit of the Luai's Ice Phoenix revealed a regretful expression and said, if his spirit had not been refined by this brat, he would have had a chance to break through to the Emperor realm. What a pity. Hearing the spirit of the Luai's Ice Phoenix's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly and revealed a look of shock. He did not notice the condition of Gu Fan's corpse at all. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he also felt a little relieved. Fortunately, he had refined Gu Fan's spirit. Otherwise, if Gu Fan's corpse broke through to the Emperor realm, he would be in danger. Time passed by slowly. After refining Gu Fan's spirit, Mo Qingyun's aura increased rapidly. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. After 10 days of continuous refining, the divine soul of Gu Fan's corpse was finally completely refined by Mo Qingyun. I've finally refined it. Seeing that he had complete control over Gu Fan's corpse, Mo Qingyun revealed a surprised smile and became a little excited. In this way, they would have more trump cards when they headed to the Buzhou Palace. After completely refining Gu Fan's spirit, Mo Qingyun brought up the topic of cultivation and looked in the direction of the altar. Based on the current situation, Muon will need at least 10 more days to complete the inheritance. After sensing Lei Muin's condition, Mo Qingyun frowned and felt a sense of urgency. In this way, if Muon completes the inheritance and heads to the Buzhou Palace, she will not be able to make it in time. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he made a decision. He was prepared to go alone. Senior, please open the formation and send me out of here first. After making his decision, Mo Qingyun asked the Lightning Ice Phoenix's spirit to prepare to head to the Buzhou Palace. Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, the Lightning Ice Phoenix's spirit did not think too much and immediately opened the formation. Senior, Muon has finished cultivating. Give this to her. Before Mo Qingyun left, he took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and handed it to the Lightning Ice Phoenix's spirit. Seeing Mo Qingyun take out the heaven-seal purple lightning bell, the spirit of the Thunder Ice Phoenix was shocked and exclaimed, Little guy, Where did you get this magic treasure in your hand? This is the treasure of the true, absolute beginning demon hall. Is there something wrong with it? The lightning ice phoenix's spirit's reaction piqued Mo Qingyun's curiosity. He couldn't help but ask the lightning ice phoenix's spirit. Under Mo Qingyun's curious gaze, the lightning ice phoenix's spirit did not answer the question. Instead, it said with a sigh, I didn't think that after billions of years, I would have the fortune to see an item from the heaven realm again. An item from the heaven realm. The lightning ice phoenix's spirit's words greatly shocked Mo Qingyun. His emotions fluctuated as he hurriedly asked, Senior, do you know the origins of the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell? Are you from the heaven realm? The heaven realm? You can say that, right? The lightning ice phoenix's spirit lifted its head and revealed a melancholy expression. Little guy, the origins of this treasure are not simple. If you want to enter the heaven realm, you might need to borrow its power. Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. His gaze towards the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell immediately changed a little. He had to admit that this information was far too important to him. Senior, can you enlighten me a little? Mo Qingyun asked with a face full of anticipation. These are all too far away for you right now. You will naturally know in the future. The lightning ice phoenix's spirit did not answer Mo Qingyun's request. It kept him in suspense. Seeing that the lightning ice phoenix's spirit had said so, Mo Qingyun did not ask any further. He was prepared to slowly search for it in the future. After calming down the shock in his heart, Mo Qingyun nodded and handed the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell over. Chapter 29-23. Whoosh! Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, coming out of the array formation. Mo Qingyun didn't stop after coming out of the formation. He swam out of the Jadefall wintry pool. After a while, Mo Qingyun left the Jadefall wintry pool and came to Lei Gi's residence. Qingyun, why are you here? Please have a seat. Lei Gi was surprised to see Mo Qingyun. He immediately asked Mo Qingyun to sit down. Mo Qingyun didn't beat around the bush after sitting down beside Lei Gi. He directly stated his intentions. Forefather Lei Gi, Muwan still needs some time to complete her inheritance. I'm afraid she won't be able to make it in time for the Buzhou Palace's invitation. I've decided to go there alone. Please give me a map. You want to go there alone? Lei Gi's old face trembled when he heard Mo Qingyun's idea. His face was filled with shock as he said, That's too dangerous. You can't do that. It's best to wait until Mu Wan finishes cultivating. Lei Gi knew Mo Qingyun's strength very well, but he was still worried about Mo Qingyun going to the Buzhou Palace alone. After all, the palace master of the Buzhou Palace had already broken through to the Great Emperor realm. Everyone below the Great Emperor realm was an ant. This wasn't a joke. Forefather, there's no need to worry. I'm just going to attend a banquet. Nothing will happen. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly at Lei Gi's worry. He comforted him and said, Plus, I'm just a nobody in their eyes. They won't cause a conflict with the true Primordium Demon Hall because of me and ruin their plans. Mo Qingyun's explanation made Lei Gi's expression turn for the better. He tacitly agreed with Mo Qingyun's intentions. Lei Gi then took out a jade slip and handed it to Mo Qingyun. He said, This is the map of the 100 eastern regions. The various factions are marked inside. I hope it'll be of some help to you on your way. Yes. Mo Qingyun took the map from Lei Gi and scanned it with his divine sense. Mo Qingyun scanned his surroundings and gained a rough understanding of the environment around the Tai Chu Star realm. Retracting his spiritual sense, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer and prepared to head to Buzhou Palace. He said, If that's the case, Junior will set off now. Be careful. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lei Gi did not urge him to stay. He stood up and walked away from Mo Qingyun. Not long after, Mo Qingyun left the true absolute beginning Devil Hall under Lei Gi's escort. At dawn, you will control the time warship and head to the Prime Clear's Buzhou Palace. After coming out of the true absolute beginning Devil Palace, Missouri Qingyun sent a message to Inchun asking him to take his place. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that Enchun had received his message but did not appear by his side. "Master, I'm going to break through to the Emperor realm. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you for the time being." Mo Qingyun was surprised when Enchun's message appeared in his mind. At the same time, he was secretly delighted. If Enchun could break through to the Emperor realm, it would undoubtedly be the best thing for him. Mo Qingyun felt relieved when he thought of that. He didn't ask Enchun to take his place. He said, "If that's the case, I'll have to suffer a little and control the flying ship myself." Time passed extremely quickly during the journey. Unbeknownst to Mo Qingyun, 10 days had passed. It's already been 10 days, and we're not even halfway there. I have to speed up. Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw the progress of the journey. A sliver of a troubled expression appeared on his face. He said, "At this rate, I might not be able to attend the banquet as promised." Upon discovering this situation, Mo Qingyun diverted a wisp of his consciousness to sense the map in the jade slip in his hand. Mo Qingyun had a plan. He murmured to himself, "The Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Domain is not far away. It's not weaker than the absolute beginning star domain. Maybe there's a good flying ship for sale. I could try my luck there." With this plan in mind, Mo Qingyun increased his speed as he rushed towards the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Field. Under Mo Qingyun's full speed, he only used half a day to arrive at the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Domain. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as he entered the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Domain, an earth-shattering sound came from afar. Then, a five-colored ray of light shot into the sky, appearing at the source of the sound. What a terrifying vision of heaven and earth. Could some strange treasure have appeared? Looking at the strange scene in the distance, Mo Qingyun was shocked, and a sense of curiosity arose in his heart. At the same time, Mo Qingyun also felt some anticipation. He flew towards the source of the vision and said, "To think that I would encounter such a thing after coming to the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Domain. Seems like my luck isn't bad. If I can make use of this opportunity to improve my cultivation and break through to the World Overlord realm, that would be a good thing." With such a thought, Mo Qingyun increased the speed of the time battleship by a few notches. About 15 minutes later, under Mo Qingyun's full speed, he arrived near the source of the vision of heaven and earth and saw a huge ravine. At this moment, there were already many people surrounding the ravine. All of them had looks of anticipation and curiosity on their faces. To think that the Dragon ravine that has been silent for 100 million years would appear once again. The Dragon ravine's appearance this time is different from the past. Its power is at least 100 times stronger. In just an instant, it devoured an entire space merchant fleet. I saw the shadow of a horse earlier. The disappearance of the merchant fleet should be related to it. Why did I see a dragon shadow? Did I see it wrongly? Standing in the air above the ravine, everyone was talking at the same time, listening to the discussions of the crowd. Mo Qingyun's curiosity towards the ravine grew even stronger. Just as Mo Qingyun's curiosity was piqued, the vision of heaven and earth in the ravine suddenly became much stronger. In just an instant, the entire region within 100 million miles of the ravine was enveloped by a five-colored light. Immediately after, the power of the laws in the surrounding space underwent some changes. This is the power of a great sage. Could there be a great sage's inheritance below the Dragon ravine? To be called a great sage, one must at least be a late-stage Emperor Realm expert. To think that the Dragon ravine would have such a secret. The Dragon ravine, this time, is different. The inheritance of a great sage must be about to appear. It said that there have been several great sages in the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Domain. Could it be true? It doesn't matter if it's true or not. If we can obtain the inheritance of a great sage, the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Domain will reign supreme. Excited voices came from all around and entered Mo Qingyun's ears. Hearing the words of the crowd, Mo Qingyun's emotions stirred. He said, To think that it would be the inheritance of a great sage. Seems like my luck is pretty good. Emperor Realm experts were divided into 3 levels according to their strength. They were Emperor Realm, Great Sage, and Saint Emperor. Chapter 29-24. While everyone was observing the galaxy Dragon crevice, a large group of people was rushing over at an extremely fast speed. Looking at the majestic army, everyone revealed a look of awe and respect, consciously opening up a path for them. 2 half-step great emperors. Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with shock when he sensed the cultivation of the 2 old men at the front of the group. If he was not wrong, these people were not weaker than the true, absolute beginning demon palace. Besides, they must be in the vicinity of the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star field for them to arrive so quickly. With that in mind, Mo Qingyun raised his guard and took precautions against them. It would be a headache if he got into a fight with these people. I did not expect the Palace Master and Vice Palace Master of the Black Moon Bear Ocean Palace to come to the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star field together. With 2 half-step Great Emperors here, the treasures in the Dragon Star Stream will have nothing to do with us. Not necessarily. The Dragon Star Stream is so big, they can't take it all. Look over there, there are more people coming. That's the 4 Dragon Palaces of Azure Sea. Why are they here? Not only the 4 Dragon Palaces of Azure Sea, but also the Absolute Heaven Battle God sect. The treasures in the Dragon Star Stream will have nothing to do with us. Under everyone's shocked gaze, another 2 groups of people were rushing towards the Dragon Star Stream. Looking at the approaching group, Mo Qingyun was enlightened. He guessed in his heart, if I'm not wrong, these people must be here because of the invitation from the Buzhou Palace. Given the location of the sects, they would have to pass through the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Field to reach the Buzhou Palace. Calculating the time, if they wanted to head to the Buzhou Palace, they would have to pass by the Eastern Sage Great Tang Star Domain. Therefore, it was reasonable for the 3 groups to be here. Black Moon Palace Master, Vice Palace Master Hai Xiong, what a coincidence. I did not expect to meet you here. Zong Peak, Zong Wuxing, Zong Mingqi, Zong Hankai. How have you been? Sect Master Wei Shiyuan and Vice Palace Master Yiling Fei are here too. The Dragon Star Stream is going to be lively. The leaders of the 3 forces greeted each other after meeting. When the 3 forces greeted each other, they also had wary expressions on their faces. This was especially true for the people of the Black Moon Oceanic Bear Palace and the Magnificent Heaven War God sect. They looked at the people of the Azure Sea's 4 Dragon Palaces with dread. If one were to observe carefully, they would discover that the people of Black Moon Oceanic Bear Palace and Absolute Heaven Fighting God sect were keeping a certain distance from the people of Qinghai 4 Dragon Palaces. Everyone, the appearance of a great sage's inheritance here will definitely alarm the various forces. We have to act quickly. Looking at the galaxy Dragon stream in front of her, Black Moon's pretty face tensed up as she suggested to the people beside her. Hearing Hei Yu's words, Zong Peak nodded in agreement and said, before entering the galaxy Dragon stream, we must first discuss the distribution of the treasures and come to a conclusion. This is to avoid any conflicts. I agree with this suggestion. As soon as Zong Peak finished speaking, Wei Shiyuan agreed. Looking at the 2's reaction, Hei Yu also nodded and accepted their suggestion. She said, since it's an agreement between the 3 of us, the treasures will naturally be divided equally among the 3 of us. Black Moon Palace Master's suggestion is good. Hearing Hei Yu's suggestion, Wei Shiyuan immediately nodded in agreement. However, Zong Peak's face turned cold and he looked reluctant. He said, if the 3 of us divide the treasures equally, the 4 of us brothers won't even get 10% of the treasures. Zong Peak calculated and immediately felt that the distribution method was unfair. He looked reluctant and said, I think that the most reasonable way to distribute the treasures is according to the number of half-step great emperors. Therefore, the 4 of us brothers will take 50%, and the remaining 50% will be divided equally among the 3 of you. I don't agree. Isn't your appetite a little too big? As soon as Zong Peak's words came out, Yu and the others objected. Soon after, the people from the three factions began to argue over the distribution of benefits. They refused to give way to each other. While the three forces were arguing, a group of people who looked miserable flew out of the galaxy Dragon Stream. Save us! Seeing the people outside the galaxy Dragon Stream, these people had a pleading look on their faces and shouted for help. However, before they could finish their words, a huge silvery dragon shadow swallowed them whole. Then, the silver dragon shadow swallowed those people and was ready to bring them back to the gully. The commotion quickly attracted the attention of the three forces. Those people escaped from the galaxy Dragon Stream. They must know the specific situation inside. Let's save them first, then slowly ask them what happened. This suggestion is good. It will be of great help to us in exploring the galaxy Dragon Stream. Zone Peak and the others discussed for a while and made a decision. Shortly after, the people from the three factions began to bombard the silvery dragon. Bang, bang, bang. Under the attacks of the people of the three forces, the silver dragon shadow instantly collapsed and turned into a pure saint power. As the silver dragon shadow was destroyed, the people who were swallowed into its stomach reappeared in front of everyone's eyes. After the silver dragon shadow was destroyed, the people of the three forces immediately went forward and surrounded those people. In a short while, these people were taken to the side and interrogated by the people of the three forces. What kind of encounter did you encounter in the galaxy Dragon Stream? Zone Peak asked solemnly as he looked at the people who had escaped from the galaxy Dragon Stream. Upon hearing Zone Peak's question, one of the older people said fearfully, "There were demon spirits everywhere." There was an endless amount of demon spirits. Besides those demon spirits, there was also a ferocious dragon spirit. It was the ruler of the galaxy Dragon Stream. After hearing this person's account, the expressions of the people of the three forces immediately turned grave. It seemed like the galaxy Dragon Stream wasn't safe. It might not be a paradise, but a huge danger zone. A few people exchanged glances before Wei Shiyuan continued to ask him, what were the cultivation bases of those demon spirits? What was the strength of that dragon spirit? The demon spirit's strength varied. The stronger ones were at the immortal lore grade, while the weaker ones were only at the universe grade. The old man didn't dare hide anything from Wei Shiyuan's question, so he immediately gave him an answer. The old man's expression turned grave when he was halfway through his sentence. Fear appeared on his face as he said, "The demon spirit isn't too strong. However, the dragon spirit's strength is too terrifying. It's very likely that it has reached the great Emperor Realm." Emperor Realm. After hearing the old man's words, the people of the three forces were stunned. Chapter 29-25. Everyone, what do you think? After learning about the situation at the galaxy Dragon Stream, Zone Peak looked at the people of the two sects and asked for their opinions. Seeing that Zone Peak had asked them, Wei Shiyuan and the others began to discuss whether they should take the risk. With their strength, they were not afraid of ordinary demon spirits, but an Emperor Realm dragon spirit was a big problem. They had to be cautious. With our strength, even if we can't defeat an Emperor Realm dragon spirit, we should have no problem protecting ourselves. Black Moon thought for a while and decided to enter the galaxy Dark Dragon Stream. Everyone, we've been stuck at the half-step Great Emperor Realm for a long time. If we don't have any fortuitous encounters, we won't be able to advance for millions of years. We might not be able to break through in this lifetime. Are you willing to let that happen? Hall Master Black Moon is right. It's a pity to miss this opportunity. After hearing Yu's words, Wei Shiyuan immediately agreed. If the Palace Lord of the Prime clears Buzhou Palace, Cho Xing hadn't broken through to the Great Emperor Realm and forced us to submit to him, why would we need to listen to him like this if we were great emperors? That's true. If that's the case, let's not delay and enter the Galaxy Dark Dragon Stream together. After the three sects finished their discussion, they didn't hesitate and began to fly into the Galaxy Dark Dragon Stream. When they flew into the Galaxy Dragon Ravine, They also ordered the people who escaped from the Galaxy Dragon Ravine. You guys lead the way. If you perform well, we will bring you out later. Yes, although they were unwilling, they could only obey because of the strength of the three sections. Not long after, the people from the three forces entered the Dragon Crevice under the guidance of those people. Seeing that the people from the three forces had all entered the stellar ocean Dragon Stream, the others began to slowly approach. The three sects have all gone in. Should we go in too? They can't stop me once they enter the stream. I think we can give it a try. It's difficult to sense in the stream. Even if they find out, they might be able to escape. Some of the bolder ones weighed the pros and cons in their hearts before entering the Galaxy Dragon Crevice. Seeing someone enter the Star Sea Dragon Stream, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate, and his figure flashed inside. As soon as they entered the Dragon Crevice, a violent and domineering dragon chi entered Mo Qingyun's senses. What a powerful dragon chi. There seems to be a dragon vein here. Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly when he sensed the dragon chi around him. A look of shock appeared on his face. If he could move the dragon veins here to the Fortune mainland, perhaps Niuei's strength would rise greatly. If we move this dragon vein, we might attract the attention of the Emperor Realm dragon spirits. As Mo Qingyun thought about it, he did not act rashly. Instead, he continued to venture deeper into the Dragon Crevice. After diving for a while, Mo Qingyun encountered a group of people who were carefully moving forward. Mo Qingyun's approach quickly attracted their attention. They looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise. Quasi-Sector Lord Realm, this kid has some guts. With his cultivation level, he actually dares to enter the Starry Sea Dragon Stream. The temptation of a great sage's inheritance is not to be underestimated. Everyone looked at Mo Qingyun with disdain, then ignored Mo Qingyun. In their opinion, with Mo Qingyun's strength, it would be dangerous for him to run into ordinary demon spirits. While everyone was mocking Mo Qingyun, the leader of the group smiled faintly at Mo Qingyun. This little friend, the Dragon Crevice is filled with dangers. It's not safe for you to travel alone. Why don't you travel with us? Senior Guanya, if we bring this kid, wouldn't it be the same as bringing a burden? Guanya's words had just left his mouth when someone expressed their dissatisfaction, unwilling to bring Mo Qingyun along. Hearing this, the others also showed their dissatisfaction and looked at Guanya. It seemed like if Guanya did not give a reasonable explanation, they would leave the group. Seeing everyone's reaction, Guanya did not mind at all and smiled faintly. The Dragon Crevice is filled with dangers. Sometimes, if your cultivation level is not high, you can really sit back and relax. If you encounter an Emperor Realm dragon spirit, the greater the number of people in the group, the greater the chance of survival. After listening to Guanya's explanation, everyone nodded in understanding his thoughts. They felt that the reason Guanyi accepted Mo Qingyun into the group was to increase their chances of escaping if they encounter danger. After all, with Mo Qingyun's cultivation level, if he really encountered danger, he probably wouldn't have the chance to survive. After explaining to everyone and seeing that they understood, Guanya looked at Mo Qingyun and said, "Little brother, I've already said my thoughts. In the Dragon Crevice, other than Emperor Realm experts, the more people there are, the safer it will be when you encounter danger. Thank you for your kind intentions. I'll join you." Mo Qingyun did not care about Guanya's thoughts. From his point of view, moving together with Guanya and the others was also a kind of logic to him. As for when they encountered treasures, it would not be easy for them to compete with Mo Qingyun. "Welcome." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was willing to join, Guanya revealed a bright smile and said to the person beside him, "Buyu, this little brother's cultivation level is low. Take care of him on the way." "Yes." Buyu nodded in response. Next, everyone moved forward together and went deeper into the Dragon Crevice. As they continued to go deeper, some weaker demon spirits appeared in front of them. Seeing those demon spirits in front of them, Guanya's expression turned serious and reminded everyone behind him, "The demon spirits have appeared. Everyone be careful." Just as Guan Yi was reminding everyone, the demon spirits surrounded them, completely surrounding them. Kill! Seeing the situation, Guan Yi did not say much and directly ordered everyone to attack. After receiving Guan Yi's order, everyone attacked the surrounding demon spirits with all their might. The strength of these demon spirits was not high. They were all at the universe level. With their strength, under the attack of Guan Yi and the others, they were naturally disintegrated in an instant. As these demon spirits were killed, they turned back into saint power and quickly merged together. Seeing this situation, Mo Qingyun was shocked, and his expression became tense. He thought to himself, could it be that after these demon spirits are killed, their power will merge and form an even stronger demon spirit? Just as Mo Qingyun was thinking about this, a scene that stunned him appeared before his eyes. After the demon spirits were killed, the saint power that they turned back into fused into a portal. Seeing this situation, Mo Qingyun's heart moved, and he guessed a possibility. The treasuries of the Yin Dragon Stream and the Star Sea were all in another small space. If they wanted to enter, they had to kill the demon spirits and turn their power into a portal. Who would have thought that there would be so many 100-million-year-old spiritual items in this small world? This was too surprising. To cultivate the 5th level of the divine sword of 9 bulls, I need the Yiksha life and death ice. I didn't expect to find it here. Mo Qingyun was secretly delighted. He did not hesitate and immediately walked into the treasure trove. When he reached the entrance of the treasure trove, Mo Qingyun stopped in his tracks, and his expression became serious. He found that there were skeletons lying around in the treasure trove. Some of the skeletons had been weathered. Obviously, these skeletons have been stored here for countless years. Looks like this treasure trove isn't particularly safe. Seeing the situation in the treasure trove, Mo Qingyun did not enter rashly. Instead, he summoned a skeletal demon bull. Under Mo Qingyun's control, the skeletal demon bull slowly entered the treasure trove and probed the dangers inside. The skeletal demon bull had only taken a few steps when a terrifying force blasted its body. Boom! The skeletal demon bull was blasted to pieces by the palm shadow. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly, and his expression became somewhat heavy. The force just now was comparable to the attack of a Pinnacle Sector Lord. Thinking about the force just now, Mo Qingyun's heart sank. He thought to himself, with my current strength, it's not difficult to block one force. However, it's not easy to block several forces at the same time. If that's the case, I can only choose one item each time I enter. Mo Qingyun made up his mind. He did not waste any more time and entered the treasure trove. After taking a few steps forward in the treasury, Mo Qingyun sensed a terrifying force coming at him. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately swung his sword at it. A sword ray with a threatening aura shot out from the 9-bull divine sword and collided with the force. After blocking the force, Mo Qingyun's footsteps didn't stop. He immediately took a step forward. Before Mo Qingyun's feet touched the ground, several terrifying forces blasted towards him from different directions. Spatial shackles. Facing several sword rays, Mo Qingyun released the law of space and shackled the surrounding space. After the surrounding space was shackled, the forces blasted onto the spatial shackles and the attacks were temporarily blocked. Crack, crack, crack. However, it did not take long before the shackled space cracked open and the forces blasted it apart. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's expression tightened and his heart sank. The law of cosmic ocean's Yin Dragon Stream has been altered by this great saint. My law of cosmic ocean's power has been greatly weakened. The situation seems to be a little bad. Mo Qingyun sighed inwardly. He did not hesitate and immediately moved forward. However, he did not move for long before several forces blasted over and interrupted his footsteps. Helpless, Mo Qingyun could only take out Gu Fan's corpse to block some of the attacks for him. With Gu Fan's corpse being taken out, the pressure on Mo Qingyun decreased sharply and his advancing speed became much faster. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived beside the Yiksha life-death ice and raised his hand to grab at the cabinet that held it. Just as Mo Qingyun's hand was about to touch the cabinet, an astonishing force blocked his hand. Boundary. Looking at the light screen outside the Yiksha life-death ice, Mo Qingyun's eyes narrowed and a force erupted from his palm. This force erupted and blasted onto the light screen, shattering it. As the light screen shattered, the Yiksha life-death ice appeared before Mo Qingyun and was quickly put away by him. After obtaining the Yiksha life-death ice, Mo Qingyun did not dare to stay any longer and immediately retreated out of the treasury. Just as Mo Qingyun's footsteps left, over 10 terrifying forces appeared at the place where the Yiksha life-death ice was stored. Seeing this situation, Mo Qingyun suddenly felt a wave of lingering fear, and a sense of relief appeared in his heart. Fortunately, he was not greedy. Otherwise, he might not have been able to take that wave of attacks head-on. Under the cover of Gu Fan's corpse, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed rapidly and retreated out of the treasury. Chapter 29-27. Before the transportation portal. Elder Guanyi, what if that fella is really lucky and gets some treasures? Seeing Mo Qingyun enter the teleportation formation, one of them expressed his worries to Guanyi. Hearing the words of the person beside him, a faint smile appeared at the corner of Guanyi's mouth. He said, if it was so easy to obtain treasures, the Dragon Stream in the galaxy would not be called a dangerous place. The treasures inside would have been taken away long ago, and the caravans that were swallowed would not have fled in fear. Guanyi's analysis immediately gained everyone's approval. Very quickly, someone asked Guanyi, that fella's been in there for half a day and hasn't replied to us. Did something happen to him? No, he's doing very well. It seems like there is no danger inside. Guanyi shook his head at the former's concern. A faint smile appeared on his lips. Since there is no danger inside, let's not waste any more time. Let's go in together. Hearing Guanyi's words, everyone's face was full of joy and they couldn't wait any longer. Then, Guanyi and them no longer wasted any time and walked into the portal together. Very quickly, everyone entered the little world and saw Mo Qingyun standing at the entrance of the treasury. Everyone is in. It seems like it will be troublesome to enter a second time. Sensing the arrival of Guanyi and the others, Mo Qingyun frowned as a trace of difficulty appeared on his face. He knew very well that if he doesn't reveal his true capabilities, these people may not let him enter the treasury again. Indeed, when they saw Mo Qingyun standing at the entrance of the treasure trove, they immediately scolded unhappily. Stop right there. You entered the independent world and confirmed that there is no danger here. To think that you are actually sending us a message. Could it be that you want a unique treasure? Hearing this person's words, the surrounding people looked at Mo Qingyun, and their gazes immediately turned cold. Clearly, they had the same thought in their hearts. When he saw everyone reveal displeasure, Guanyi smiled faintly and walked out with the attitude of a peacemaker. He said, little brother, you're in the wrong here. We allowed you to enter the minor world first, and we've already let you take advantage of us. Yet you want to take all the treasures for yourself. That's too disappointing. To punish you, you don't have to enter the treasury. As soon as Guanyi's words left his mouth, he immediately received everyone's approval. Cold smiles appeared on their faces. Senior Yi, you're right. Such a greedy person shouldn't touch treasures. In my opinion, we should directly drive him out so that he won't be an eyesore standing here. Kid, you can leave the small world now. Just wait outside for a while. Everyone was once again bossing Mo Qingyun around. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun did not get angry. Instead, he smiled and said, Elder Guanyi, thank you for letting me in first. To express my gratitude, I have decided to explore this small world and see if there are any dangers here. However, you all came in too quickly, and I did not have the time to explore the treasury. Thus, whether or not the treasury is dangerous will have to be explored by yourselves. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he retreated to the side to express his attitude. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of Guan Yi and the others immediately turned heavy. If there were dangers in the treasury and they entered rashly, they might encounter misfortune. When Guan Yi thought of this, he immediately revealed a brilliant smile and said, "It seems that we have misunderstood your good intentions. I hope little brother won't be angry. To compensate you, you should enter the treasury first to choose the treasures." "Senior, there's no need to apologize." Guan Yi smiled apologetically. Mo Qingyun waved his hand calmly and said, "The treasures in the treasury are useless to me. I won't enter to join in the fun." Mo Qingyun didn't lie. The Yiksha life-death eyes that was useful to him had already been taken away by him. If he entered the treasury again, even if he obtained some spiritual items, it would only increase the number of treasures. It didn't mean much to him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the expressions of Guan Yi and the others changed, and they were immediately displeased. A mid-stage sector lord walked out with a displeased expression and said in a commanding tone, "Kid, why are you talking so much nonsense? I told you to go in first, so you go in first." As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his right hand and grabbed towards Mo Qingyun, refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Kamuya's temper is famous for being irritable. This kid can only blame his bad luck for making him unhappy. I think he only has himself to blame. Wouldn't it be fine if he listened to him obediently? The people at the side were rejoicing in Kamuya's misfortune. While they were watching the show, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold and a long sword appeared in his hand. As soon as the 9-bull divine sword entered his mouth, Mo Qingyun slashed forward and released a dazzling cold light. A cold light flashed, and a sword light burst out, directly hitting Kamuya. Puchi! The sword ray struck Kamuya's body and didn't stop at all. It directly penetrated his body. Shortly after, Kamuya's body was split into two, and he fell back with a shocked expression. A single sword, and Kamuya was killed. Even his primordial spirit couldn't escape. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. They thought they had seen through it. With Kamuya's mid-stage sector lore cultivation, he was actually killed by Mo Qingyun in a single sword strike. Oof. I just disdain to be calculated with others. It doesn't mean I'm easy to bully. After killing Kamuya in a single sword strike, Mo Qingyun turned to look at the others and expressed his attitude. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the contempt they had towards him before was immediately retracted. From Mo Qingyun's performance, his true combat strength was definitely not as simple as a quasi-sector lord. This kid's true strength is probably comparable to a mid-stage sector lord. We all misjudged him. Fortunately, I didn't make a move earlier. A quasi-sector lord with strength comparable to a mid-stage sector lord. He's an incredible genius. Looks like it's slightly unrealistic to use him to pave the way and continue probing all sorts of dangers. Killing without a word. This kid is ruthless enough. He's not to be trifled with. Looking at Kamuya's corpse, everyone sighed in their hearts and felt reverence towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing everyone's reaction, the smile on Mo Qingyun's face immediately widened. Shortly after, Mo Qingyun looked towards Guanya and cupped his hands apologetically. "Senior Guanya, Junior was too angry and couldn't control myself. I accidentally killed him. I hope you can forgive me." Hearing Mo Qingyun's apology, Guanya's face twitched and he faintly felt a chill. He didn't understand why Mo Qingyun would have such a feeling. Even though he didn't understand why, Guanya's gaze towards Mo Qingyun changed greatly. This kid before him wasn't someone to be trifled with. Chapter 29-28. You can't be blamed for this. It's all Kamuya's fault for being so aggressive. Guanya smiled faintly and waved his hand at Mo Qingyun, pushing the blame to Kamuya. Seeing Guanya's performance, everyone sighed inwardly, feeling that Kamuya's death wasn't worth it. Kamuya did this for everyone's benefit, but in the end he ended up in such a state. It had to be said that his death was in vain. Although everyone felt that Kamuya's death wasn't worth it, no one blamed Guanya. Mo Qingyun's strength wasn't weak, and Kamuya was already killed by him. It was obviously unwise for Guanya to become enemies with Mo Qingyun for a dead person. Thank you for your understanding, Senior. Seeing Guanya's attitude, Mo Qingyun cupped his hands gratefully. Guanya was tactful and didn't pursue the cause of Kamuya's death. This couldn't be better. After making his position clear, Guanya didn't want to delay any longer and said, "Since little friend isn't interested in the treasury, we won't force you." After Guanya finished speaking, he turned around and slowly walked towards the treasury. Mo Qingyun only smiled faintly at Guanya's words and didn't give a reply. He just said that he wasn't interested in the treasures in the treasury, but it was different now. He had already exposed some of his strength, so he had less apprehension and didn't mind entering the treasury to get some benefits. These 100 million years old rare spiritual objects were not easy to come across. Guanya walked to the front of the treasury and didn't rashly enter. Instead, he carefully observed the entrance. They also saw that the treasury was full of corpses, which proved that the treasury wasn't safe. Who was willing to go in and explore? Now that he couldn't order Mo Qingyun to act as a guinea pig, Guanya could only ask the others. Hearing Guanya's words, everyone showed a difficult expression and expressed that they didn't want to take the risk. After a while, an old man walked to the front of the crowd and summoned a tiger-type demonic beast, saying, "This is this old man's mount. I'll let it go in and explore the treasury." Hearing the old man's words, the surrounding people showed joy and nodded in agreement. Under everyone's expectant eyes, the old man controlled the mount and entered the treasury. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as the tiger demon entered the treasury, waves of terrifying energy blasted towards it. In the blink of an eye, the tiger demon at the pinnacle of the universe realm had been blasted into smithereens. Seeing this scene, Guan Yi and the others outside the entrance of the treasury were all stunned. Senior Guanya, it seems that this treasury should be filled with various dangers. Seeing that the tiger demon had been blasted into smithereens, everyone was horrified and did not dare to enter again. Hearing the words of the people beside him, Guanya's face was also solemn as he thought about how to resolve this problem. Guan Yi pondered for a while and made a decision. He said, "Although this treasury is extremely dangerous, it has existed for a very long time. The various taboos within it will definitely be greatly weakened. If we attack with all our might, we should be able to neutralize those forbidden powers and enter safely. Although this will take some time, it is the most reliable method." Hearing Guan Yi's idea, the people around him all looked happy and nodded in agreement. Immediately after, Guan Yi and the others did not hesitate and immediately attacked the taboos within the treasury. Under everyone's frenzied attacks, the taboos within the treasury were clearly weakening. As expected, there is strength in numbers. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly, and he could not help but sigh inwardly. Just as Mo Qingyun was sighing inwardly, a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He said, "If these taboos are broken, it will be easy for me to enter the treasury and fight for those 100-million-year-old spiritual items." A moment later, seeing that the taboos in the treasury were weakening, Mo Qingyun stopped watching and slowly walked towards Guan Yi and the others. Mo Qingyun's approach immediately attracted the attention of Guan Yi and the others. Caution flashed across their eyes. Mo Qingyun did not care about everyone's reaction. He smiled faintly and walked to Guan Yi's side. "Senior Guan Yi, everyone is working so hard. I can't just sit by and watch. Let me do my part." Just as Mo Qingyun's words fell, he took out the Nine Bulls' divine sword and slashed at a corner of the treasury. A sword light flashed, slamming into a shelf, directly breaking the taboos. In the next second, the spiritual items inside the shelf appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Seeing the 100-million-year-old spiritual items, everyone was excited and moved to snatch them. Unfortunately, how could their speed be faster than Mo Qingyun's? Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, waving his hand at the shelf, and the 100-million-year-old spiritual item flew into his hand. In the next second, the 100-million-year-old spiritual item disappeared into Mo Qingyun's fortune mainland. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, everyone's face darkened with displeasure. Mo Qingyun's forceful snatching made them very dissatisfied. In the next second, Guan Ye's dissatisfaction was written all over his face. His expression was a little ugly as he said, "Little friend, you said earlier that you're not interested in the treasures inside the treasury. Why are you snatching them now?" "That was what I was thinking, but thinking about Senior's words, I changed my mind." Facing Guan Ye's questioning, Mo Qingyun didn't panic in the slightest. With a matter-of-fact attitude, he said, "Because I refused Senior's good intentions, Kamiya was dissatisfied and forced me to enter the treasury, causing me to accidentally kill him. Therefore, I decided to accept Senior's good intentions and enter the treasury to explore. I didn't expect to gain something on the first try. Thank you very much, Senior." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Guan Yi was at a loss for words, not knowing how to refute. He did not expect that Mo Qingyun would push the blame to him just by moving his mouth. Looking at the speechless Guan Yi, Mo Qingyun did not stop talking. He continued, "Senior, I have already acquired the treasures. Now it's your turn. If you continue to be polite, then I will continue to pick treasures." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he acted like he was about to attack, scaring Guan Yi and the others into a state of panic. As for punishing Mo Qingyun, everyone had forgotten about it. What they were thinking about now was to snatch the treasures as fast as possible and not let Mo Qingyun get his hands on them again. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun smiled in satisfaction. He was not in a hurry to make his move. He ate the meat. He had to leave some soup for others. If he didn't leave anything behind, then Guan Yi and the others would be dissatisfied and become the target of public criticism. Though he was not afraid of Guan Yi and the others, if he were to attack them, it would be troublesome. Then, Mo Qingyun watched as Guan Yi and the others continued to crazily attack the taboo items. Under their relentless attacks, one taboo item after another was broken and the shells were slowly exposed. Hearing Xian Tianqing's words, Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a look of disdain and insulted him. "If you want to steal my spirit item, then don't be so secretive. If you have the ability, then go ahead and make your move." What a sharp-tongued brat. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Xian Tianqing's face turned cold and was filled with intense anger. "If this old man doesn't teach you a lesson today, then I won't be called Xian Tianqing." Mo Qingyun didn't care about Xian Tianqing's anger at all and said indifferently, "If you aren't called Xian Tianqing, then you can change your name to Beast. It will be easier to pronounce." Beast. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people were stunned and dumbfounded. They suddenly realized that the combination of Xian Tianqing and Xian Tianqing really made the word beast. Damn, I just realized that the Xian Tianqing duo is a beast. If that brat didn't say it, then I really wouldn't have realized. From now on, Xian Tianqing's bad name will follow him for the rest of his life. This brat's mouth is really poisonous. While everyone was shocked, they also sympathized with Xian Tianqing. They were very clear that no matter what the result was, Xian Tianqing's bad name of beast would follow him forever. Seeing the obvious change in everyone's eyes, Xian Tianqing was thoroughly enraged. You're courting death," Xian Tianqing shouted angrily. His figure flashed and pointed at Mo Qingyun. Xian Tianqing waved his finger, and a terrifying finger force blasted out from his finger. Facing Xian Tianqing's attack, Mo Qingyun didn't retreat at all and directly slashed with the 9-bull divine sword. Seeing Mo Qingyun's sword slash, Xian Tianqing immediately dodged and didn't dare to face the incoming sword light head-on. From the looks of it, Mo Qingyun's killing of Kamiya had left a deep impression on everyone. Unfortunately, Although Xian Tiansheng wanted to dodge, Emo Qingyun wouldn't let him have his way. Before Xian Tiansheng's body could move a foot away, his movement was restricted. Then, the expression on his face turned into panic. Oh, oh no! Seeing his body being restricted, a strong sense of uneasiness arose in Xian Tiansheng's heart. However, before he could calm down, he felt a chill in his body and was hit by a domineering force. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Everyone saw Xian Tiansheng fly out and spit out a mouthful of blood. His aura was rapidly weakening. Xian Tiansheng flew backward for a distance and crashed into the treasury, creating a hole in it. After crashing through the wall of the treasury, Xian Tiansheng's body came to a stop and lay on the ground. No one knew if he was dead or alive. Seeing this scene, Guan Yi and the others gasped and felt a chill run down their backs. Even those who were fighting stopped at this moment. Each and every one of them had a terrified expression on their faces. Someone like Xian Tiansheng was actually able to withstand Mo Qingyun's sword. In that case, what level did Mo Qingyun's true battle strength reach? Even a pinnacle sector Lord Realm expert's battle strength was probably at this level. Luckily, I didn't make a move. Looking at Xian Tiansheng, who didn't know if he was dead or alive, Guan Yi felt a lingering fear and a sense of relief. Luckily, he didn't make a move on Mo Qingyun. Otherwise, he wouldn't be any better than Xian Tiansheng. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Mo Qingyun said calmly, "I don't want to look for trouble, but that doesn't mean I'm easy to bully. If anyone wants to find trouble with me, I hope you'll think twice." As Mo Qingyun spoke, his gaze swept across the surroundings and swept past Guan Yi and the others. Sensing Mo Qingyun's gaze, even Guan Yi, who was the strongest among them, subconsciously avoided his gaze. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction. Seemed like he had intimidated them enough this time. Seeing that everyone was intimidated, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer and said to Guan Yi, "Senior Guan Yi, since the treasury has been emptied, let's leave." After knowing Mo Qingyun's strength, no one dared to ignore Mo Qingyun's words. Chapter 29:30. After exiting the small world, everyone distanced themselves from Mo Qingyun to show their respect for him. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the crowd's reaction. He walked in front with a faint smile. Mo Qingyun and the others didn't walk far before they encountered another group of evil spirits that surrounded them. With the previous experience, everyone's battle intent surged when they saw the evil spirits approaching and they charged towards them. Especially those who didn't gain anything in the small world, they attacked even more crazily. To them, killing these evil spirits was equivalent to opening the teleportation door to the small world and obtaining the opportunity to enter the treasure vault. At that time, they would definitely fight with all their might and obtain all sorts of rare treasures. Seeing everyone attacking, Mo Qingyun didn't stay idle and constantly killed the evil spirits that attacked him. These evil spirits were much stronger than the previous batch. They had all reached the realm of sector lords. The stronger evil spirits were even close to the intermediate sector lord realm. Of course, even with their strength, they couldn't pose a threat to Mo Qingyun and the others. Under Mo Qingyun and the others' attacks, the number of evil spirits killed increased. What surprised Mo Qingyun and the others was that the teleportation door to the small world didn't form. What's going on? Why hasn't the teleportation door formed after killing so many evil spirits? Could it be that our previous guess was wrong and killing the evil spirits won't form the teleportation door? Don't panic. The harder it is to form the teleportation door to the small world, the more treasures there are in the small world. We want to go deep into the Dragon crevice. Since we have to kill the evil spirits to open the way, let nature take its course. Noticing the situation before them wasn't right, some people voiced their doubts. As they spoke, they noticed that the evil spirits were getting stronger and stronger. Intermediate sector Lord Realm evil spirits often appeared among the evil spirits and gave them a lot of pressure. Seeing the situation getting worse, Guan Ye's expression was tense, and he came to Mo Qingyun's side and said, "Little brother, the situation seems a little wrong. What do you think?" While Guan Yu was asking, he was obviously respectful. Clearly, he was afraid of Mo Qingyun's strength. Hearing Guan Ye's question, Mo Qingyun's expression did not change. He calmly said, "Don't think too much. Just focus on killing the evil spirit. We will know the results sooner or later." Guan Yu was greatly disappointed to hear such an answer from Mo Qingyun's mouth. Originally, he thought that Mo Qingyun was different from the rest and would be able to see some mysteries. Unexpectedly, Mo Qingyun was the same as them, unable to discover the slightest bit of mystery. If the teleportation gate didn't form, killing these evil spirits would undoubtedly be a waste of time. Just as Mo Qingyun and the others were observing the teleportation gate, it suddenly shone brightly and flew forward. Seeing the teleportation gate suddenly fly away, Mo Qingyun and the others were shocked and immediately chased after it. After a while, Mo Qingyun saw the four corners of the gate fly together and begin to form. Then, a complete teleportation gate was formed in front of everyone's eyes. When the teleportation gate was formed, 3 groups of people came one after another from the other 3 directions. Seeing the arrival of the 3 groups of people, the expressions of Guan Yi and the others immediately became tense. Especially the people coming from the 4 directions. Guan Yi and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale and strong fear emerged on their faces. These people were from the 4 dragon palaces of Qinghai. The middle-aged man at the front of these people was Zhong Hankai, the palace master of North Sea from the 4 dragon palaces of Qinghai. I didn't expect the people from the 4 dragon palaces of Qinghai to come. It seems that there's no chance to enter this small world. What bad luck. We've worked for nothing again. We can go back now. Otherwise, we won't get the treasure and lose our lives in vain. Looking at Zhong Hankai from the 4 dragon palaces of Qinghai, many people instinctively showed despair on their faces. In their opinion, it was impossible to snatch the treasure from Zhong Hankai. Chapter 29:31. Young friend, the 4 dragon palaces of Qinghai is too powerful for us to mess with. Let's go. Seeing Zhong Hankai's arrival, Guan Yi immediately persuaded Mo Qingyun with a respectful expression. Mo Qingyun did not listen to Guan Yi's persuasion. He shook his head and said, "A half-step great emperor is not enough to scare me away. As for your choice, it's up to you." While Mo Qingyun was speaking, the formation of the teleportation gate was completed. Seeing the formation of the teleportation gate, everyone entered it. Seeing everyone's actions, Mo Qingyun did not delay and also flew into the teleportation gate. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times and entered the teleportation gate, disappearing from the eyes of Guan Yi and the others. "Senior Guan Yi, Mo Qingyun has entered the small world. Should we follow him and take a look? Although we have no hope of obtaining treasures in the small world, it's good to watch a good show. If Mo Qingyun and Zhong Hankai fight, the scene will be very exciting. Now that you mention it, my interest has been piqued." After discussing for a while, they also entered the teleportation gate and arrived at the small world. Guan Yi and the others entered the small world and looked for Mo Qingyun's figure. Guan Yi and the others looked around and found Mo Qingyun. They saw that he was flying toward the mountain peak. At the top of the mountain, there was a huge statue of a Pegasus that emitted an ancient aura. What kind of statue is that? It has such an aura. Feeling the aura of the Pegasus statue, Guan Yi and the others were stunned. Their eyes were filled with shock. In their knowledge, they had never seen an ancient object that could emit such an aura. I can feel such a terrifying aura from so far away. I really don't know how Mo Qingyun withstood it. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was in front of everyone, Guan Yi's face was filled with shock and confusion. He did not expect Zhong Hankai to be behind Mo Qingyun in terms of cultivation. He could only try his best to chase after him. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun flew all the way to the peak of the mountain. However, to Mo Qingyun's surprise, when he reached the mountainside, he clearly felt that the resistance had increased. It felt as if there were spatial crystal walls blocking in front of him. Every time he crashed into it, he could feel a wave of pain coming from his body. What terrifying resistance! Mo Qingyun's expression trembled when he sensed the help in front of him, and he slowed down a little. In the face of such obstacles, the faster he flew, the more damage his body would suffer. According to the current situation, if he rushed down, he would probably be seriously injured and unable to get up before he reached the top. In the face of such an obstacle, I can't use my body to resist it. I have to use other powers. Mo Qingyun slowed down a bit to reduce the pain on his body. Then, he began to think of a solution. As soon as Mo Qingyun thought about it, he made a decision and immediately urged the laws of space. Spatial penetration. The power of the laws of space penetration was released and blasted forward, causing the space in front of him to shake. Then, Mo Qingyun clearly saw the space in front of him distort intensely. Bang, bang, bang. In a short, while a clear cracking sound was heard from the space in front of him. As the cracking sound was heard, the pressure Mo Qingyun felt decreased significantly. However, Mo Qingyun did not speed up because of this. Instead, he continued to move forward at a steady pace. He had a vague feeling that if he wanted to reach the top of the mountain, he could not rely on speed alone. As Mo Qingyun's speed decreased, the people who were chasing after him immediately smiled smugly. "Kid, can't you run anymore? Although your flying speed is extremely fast, you are still too inexperienced in terms of endurance. I advise you to give up as soon as possible and leave obediently." Mocking words came from the mouths of the people behind him. Hearing their words, Mo Qingyun smiled meaningfully and ignored them. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, they would naturally shut up when they reached the middle of the mountain. I see. While the people were mocking Mo Qingyun, Zhong Hankai had reached the middle of the mountain and was shocked. At this moment, he finally understood why Mo Qingyun slowed down. Just now, he was caught off guard and crashed into the space crystal wall, causing him to be slightly injured. Fortunately, his cultivation level was high. If it had been an ordinary person, he might have been seriously injured. Bang, bang, bang. While Zhong Hankai was still in shock, the group of people crashed into the space crystal wall, causing a series of dull thuds. Then, these people's bodies were repelled by a force. When these people were repelled, he was seriously injured. All of them spat out blood and turned pale. Then, the way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed drastically. It turned out that Mo Qingyun had slowed down not because he was running out of energy, but because of the obstruction of the space crystal wall. Some of them were seriously injured and could not continue moving forward. They could only reluctantly retreat to the foot of the mountain. After a while, the number of people flying to the top of the mountain decreased by 30%. Moreover, as time passed, the number of people continued to decrease. Zhong Hankai slowly caught up with Mo Qingyun and shouted coldly, "Kid, the fact that you were able to reach this point is enough to prove that you are extraordinary. You can leave now." Upon hearing Zhong Hankai's words, a gloating smile appeared on the faces of the people following behind him. "This kid is unlucky. Palace Master Zhong Hankai has given the order. Let's see if he doesn't get out of here obediently." Palace Master Zhong Hankai didn't say anything earlier. He really thought that he was qualified to get the treasure. So what if he runs fast? In the end, he is the one who stands out. Everyone mocked him. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun glanced at Zhong Hankai and said, "It's very hard for you to reach this point at your age. While you still have some energy left, you should retreat to the foot of the mountain as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will die of exhaustion." The moment Mo Qingyun's words left his mouth, everyone was stunned. They thought that they had misheard. They did not expect Mo Qingyun to speak to Zhong Hankai in such a manner. He was courting death. "What did you say?" Zhong Hankai could not believe that Mo Qingyun dared to talk back to him. As expected, I am old. My ears are not as good as before. Hearing Zhong Hongkai's words, Mo Qingyun sighed and shook his head helplessly. He said, I was just telling you that you're lucky to reach this point at your age. You should get back to the foot of the mountain as soon as possible. Don't continue flying to the top of the mountain. Otherwise, you will die of exhaustion. After Mo Qingyun said that, everyone fell silent. Everyone knew that with Zhong Hongkai's status and temper, he would definitely not let Mo Qingyun off. Chapter 29:32. As expected, Mo Qingyun's words had infuriated Zhong Hongkai. Zhong Hongkai's face turned green as he looked at Mo Qingyun. He clenched his fists and said, Why don't you try me and see if I'll die from exhaustion? Zhong Hongkai snorted. He leaped up and clawed at Mo Qingyun. As Zhong Hongkai moved, a terrifying bloodline power exploded from his body. The bloodline power exploded and turned into a huge dragon shadow that circled around Zhong Hongkai's body. Under the impact of the bloodline power, everyone around Zhong Hongkai was forced to retreat. Some of the weaker people were hit by this force and directly fell from the mountainside. Then, they spat out mouthfuls of blood and their faces turned pale. Everyone's expression changed when they saw this. They were in awe of Zhong Hongkai. Just a wisp of his aura was enough to force the mid-stage and late-stage sector lords back and injure them slightly. This kind of strength was truly terrifying. Is this the strength of a half-step Great Emperor? Although there's only a half-step difference between a half-step Great Emperor and a pinnacle sector lord, the difference is huge. I'm afraid that kid won't even be able to take one hit from Zhong Hongkai. Everyone agreed that Mo Qingyun wasn't a match for Zhong Hongkai after seeing his performance. They're really fighting. Guan Yi was shocked. He tightened his expression and clenched his fists. Although he had long suspected that with Mo Qingyun's temperament, it was very likely that he would go against Zhong Hongkai. However, Guan Yi and the others were still shocked when they saw the fight. They couldn't believe it. After all, a quasi-community lord was on a completely different level from a half-step Great Emperor. In the entire universe, Mo Qingyun was probably the only one who dared to fight against a half-step Great Emperor realm expert with a cultivation base that was only at the quasi-united Overlord realm. Senior Guan Yi, can that kid take 10 hits from Zhong Hongkai? Seeing Zhong Hongkai's actions, the people around Guan Yi asked nervously. Although they had seen Mo Qingyun's strength, they were not confident that Mo Qingyun would be able to defeat Zhong Hongkai. Hearing the question of the person beside him, Guan Yi shook his head and said, I'm not sure either. It should be next. As soon as Guan Yi finished speaking, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and a long sword appeared in his hand. Seeing Mo Qingyun make his move, the surrounding people held their breaths, not daring to make the slightest sound. Mo Qingyun brandished the 9-oxen divine sword. His expression became cold and shouted, I don't know if you will die of exhaustion now, but I am very sure of one thing. You will be beaten to death by me later. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, a threatening sword light shot out from the 9-bull divine sword. The sword radiance burst out with a mysterious power and slashed toward Zhong Hongkai. You're overestimating yourself. As Zhong Hongkai spoke, his body slowly floated up and flew toward Mo Qingyun at an extremely fast speed. Looking at Zhong Hongkai, who was getting closer and closer, Mo Qingyun sneered. His eyes were filled with disdain as he said, Old man, don't think too highly of yourself. Even if you go all out, I'll still slaughter you like a dog. If you fled just now, you might have been able to save your life. It's too late now. After Mo Qingyun said that, he didn't waste any more time and charged towards Zhong Hongkai. In his opinion, since they had already started fighting, he wouldn't be able to reach the top of the mountain if he didn't get rid of Zhong Hongkai. Mo Qingyun flashed a few times and arrived in front of Zhong Hongkai. He slashed his sword at him again. The 9-bull divine sword shone brightly and shot out a sword ray that shrouded Zhong Hongkai. After the previous lesson, Zhong Hongkai was obviously more careful when facing Mo Qingyun again. He seemed to have realized that he couldn't take Mo Qingyun's sword ray head-on.